Chapter 1363. Wow, it's really Lin Che. Oh God, they're kissing so hard apart. Is Lin Che really in love with someone? In an instant, the netizens were in a frenzy. But some people also realized that although Zhou Yu was a newcomer, he was too good looking. Oh God, he's so handsome. Even his kissing movements are so good looking. Look at his eyelashes, they're so long. This video, with music and filters, looks like a youth film. He's so good looking. I wonder what those people are scolding him for. If I were Lin Che, I would definitely like Zhou Yu. That's right. Who cares if he's a newcomer or not? In love, status doesn't come first. That's right. Loving someone doesn't depend on whether they're rich or not, famous or not. Lin Che definitely didn't care about status when he found him. Lin Che suddenly noticed that as soon as the video was released, everyone's attitude immediately changed. They all felt that Lin Che had gotten lucky. Meanwhile, those that previously suspected that Lin Che had been used, cheated, or fooled by a newcomer immediately changed their minds and felt that Zhou Yu and her were truly in love. Fuck. All they saw was a face. This was a world that only cared about looks. In short, those that were good-looking were always right in everything they did. Perhaps the paparazzi didn't expect that the fans would suddenly lean towards them and feel that they were a good match. However, the increase in views was enough to make them happy. Seeing that Lin Che still hadn't replied, they knew that Lin Che couldn't do anything about it. After seeing the news, there was no way he could deny it. Meanwhile, in order to gain attention for a few more days, the paparazzi wrote a lot of stories about Zhou Yu. They said that Zhou Yu had been dropped onto the set and that his acting was terrible. But Lin Che's care for him was unprecedented. He had never treated any other actor like this before. No matter how bad his acting was, Lin Che would always comfort him and never scold him. Not to mention, Lin Che also took care of him tirelessly and personally. They wondered if he had been bewitched. With the paparazzi stories, some fans started to worry. Why did Zhou Yu deserve to be taken care of by their goddess? She even took care of him personally. Some people also suspected that this Zhou Yu had some special methods to make Lin Che submit to him. He was so bad at acting, yet he was still brought into the cast. Yu Minmin saw that these paparazzi were indeed targeting the black people. She smiled coldly and thought to herself, just you wait. Of course, we can't be bothered to respond. If we do respond, you'll understand why Lin Che takes care of a newbie. Lin Che was speechless when he saw this. How did she serve Gu Jingze? Okay, she was a little indecisive, but it was because she was used to flattering Gu Jingze. Moreover, with Gu Jingze's imposing manner, how many people wouldn't flatter him? She wasn't too bad. She didn't try to suck up to him. In the film crew, Zhou Yu's scenes were nearing completion. Actually, he was cut later on and didn't have many scenes. Most of the time, he was in the background, but he was still a character. So, when the crew was filming, he still watched from the side. Lin Che and Gu Jingze didn't seem to be affected. They showed up as usual. They sat together and didn't avoid each other at all. But now that they were out, there were even more people looking at them. Everyone looked at the two of them strangely. It was strange in their hearts. Why were they so calm and unaffected by the scandal? Could it be that Lin Che had admitted to his relationship with Zhou Yu? Looking at it this way, it seemed to be real. Lin Che didn't know Zhou Yu before. Yeah, Zhou Yu never appeared before. This is the first time we've seen him. Is Lin Che really smitten? Ah, Zhou Yu is so handsome. It's normal for him to be smitten. What a pity. I always thought that Lin Che would find a rich man. Is she really a best actress? Everyone was guessing, but Lin Che didn't seem to care at all. He just ran behind Zhou Yu. Wait for me. What are we going to eat later? Anything. Then I'll choose anything. Sure, just don't choose anything I don't like it. Lin Che was speechless. Then what did you say? Lin Che felt that the two of them were complete opposites. Why was Gu Jingze so arrogant? Why did he always let her choose what she wanted to eat? Gu Jingze smiled. I'm giving you a chance to choose. If you don't want it, then I'll choose. Lin Che snorted. It had always been like this. In the end, he still chose, and she ate. But she really didn't care what she ate. As long as she was with him, she felt that it was sweet. The two of them walked past, followed by a bunch of gazes and discussions. Lin Che turned around to look and pursed his lips into a smile. He knew that they had been saying recently that she had been bewitched, which was why she was so respectful to a newcomer. He wondered how they would feel when they found out about Gu Jing's true identity. Anyway, Gu Jing's part came to an end in this atmosphere. But Lin Che didn't respond. Finally, just when everyone thought that Lin Che had silently agreed, the news of Lin Che attending a product launch was leaked. Immediately, the reporters swarmed him. This was Lin Che's first appearance after the scandal. Of course, everyone was looking forward to it. Before Lin Che reached the venue, he could already see a bunch of reporters outside. It was a dense crowd. Even Lin Che was shocked. What are these people doing? A staff member looked at Lin Che. Sister Che, you haven't shown your face in a long time. Everyone is waiting for your response. Be careful with your answers later. Everyone was worried that Lin Che couldn't handle it. Lin Che shrugged and smiled. There's nothing to respond to. I'll just answer whatever they ask. Huh? The staff member didn't know how to respond. An artist like Lin Che was sometimes beyond the control of a management company. Moreover, Lin Che's manager was Yu Minmin. She was the boss of the company. Who could control her? When the news broke, everyone received instructions from the higher-ups. They were told not to speak carelessly and to pretend that they didn't know. Everyone was very obedient. No matter how the paparazzi tried to find out, they just said that they didn't know anything. Lin Che got out of the car. As expected, the reporters crowded around. In an instant, the security guards surrounded them. Pushing the reporters away, Lin Che smiled generously. Everyone, don't push. Be careful. Let's go in first. It'll affect the traffic. Everyone looked at Lin Che's beaming face. He looked like he was in love. The reporter immediately asked, May I ask if the relationship is real? Are you and Zhou together? Lin Che was shy. She smiled. You all took pictures. What else can I say? Wow. Everyone crowded around him like crazy. He admitted it. Chapter 1364. When did they get together? Who's chasing who? Did they fall in love with each other on set? Did they fall for each other at first sight? Did they admit it because they were caught on camera? Everyone knew that the topic of Lin Che's popularity had reached a certain level. Hence, when they saw the reporters surrounding Lin Che, they had already expected it. Hence, the other celebrities basically took a detour around him. When they reached the interview area, the microphones were immediately placed in front of them. Lin Che looked at everyone helplessly. I didn't want to expose it at first, but got caught on camera. Of course, it's not like we have anything to do with each other. Who doesn't date? It just makes me feel embarrassed. Why did you guys take that picture? Seriously. Then, Lin Che's face blushed shyly. Looking at the shy look on her face, everyone felt that it was all the more sweet. It was indeed a behavior that a couple in love would have. Are you living together now? When are you getting married? Are you having children? Lin Che looked at everyone and said, I've never liked to talk about matters of the heart because I feel that I want everyone to see more of my work, so I don't need to say anything. Since there are so many reporters here, I think they're quite capable. They were even able to capture such a scene. Let them continue to do so. Lin Che revealed a slight smile and looked at the camera. Although he was calm, his provocation was very obvious. If people don't provoke me, I won't provoke them. Now that they were provoking her, if she didn't retaliate, she wouldn't be fit to be Gu Jing's wife. Everyone looked at him. The sparks were really too obvious. Lin Che was openly provoking the paparazzi. The paparazzi had offended quite a number of celebrities recently. However, because many of them had scandals about them, although some of them were unhappy, they wouldn't be so obvious and they wouldn't openly provoke them. But now, Lin Che had been exposed and he was fiercely rebuking them. The next day's headlines had already been published. Lin Che fiercely retorted, Do whatever you want. Continue to expose me. I'm not afraid. The paparazzi looked at Lin Che. Did that count as Lin Che's response? His response was too hasty. Haha, as expected of a boss, he was willful. Since she told us to do whatever we want, we'll do it. The paparazzi knew that Xing Hui had informed them that someone had seen Lin Che with 2 children. However, they did not take any photos at the time, so there was no evidence. Now that Lin Che had admitted to their relationship, they would focus on the baby. They were professional paparazzi, so when they followed the trail, they used a different method to calculate backwards. Did she have a child? She wanted to go to kindergarten. She had too many bodyguards around her, so it was not easy to follow her. She often lost track of her. But there must be someone in her house to fetch her child. And the kindergartens that these celebrities would go to would definitely be famous in B City. They would start from these excellent kindergarten groups. After searching for a while, they found that there were only a few kindergartens that were qualified to go to, so they sent people to wait for them. All of a sudden, they really found a house to camp. Boss, there are a boy and a girl in this house. Their age is about the same as what Xing Hui said. Also, there's a group of bodyguards following them. This kindergarten is amazing. Lin Che is really willing to spend money. There are many very capable children in this kindergarten, and it is very expensive. The teachers are all hired from abroad. I heard that the expenses are not ordinary. You've known Zhou Yucai for such a short time, and the child is already so big. The child is definitely not Zhou Yu's. Let's see what you'll do when that happens. Do you have a photo? Yes. Look, doesn't it look a little like Lin Che? Yes, but they don't really look alike. They felt that the child looked familiar, but they did not know exactly whose child it was. That day, the paparazzi released the news. Does everyone think that Lin Che's matter has ended, and that the prince and princess have lived happily ever after? No. You haven't seen the climax of the story yet. Soon, we will bring everyone to see the big show that will destroy your worldview. The netizens were indeed very surprised when they saw it. What did that mean? There was still a show after? Did they think that it was over just because they admitted it? The fans were just about to celebrate and congratulate Lin Che for finding the right person. They did not expect it to be so exciting all of a sudden. Was there still a twist? There was no response from Lin Che's side at all. In the office, Lin Che looked at the news. The photo was deliberately blurred, but it could still be seen that it was indeed their child. These people are really good, Lin Che said. They are indeed professionals. It's a pity that they offended someone they shouldn't have offended, Yu Min said. These days, Lin Che felt that it did not matter anymore, since it had already been exposed, so he did not hide it too well. Otherwise, if he had been on high alert, these people would definitely not have been able to take any pictures. Some of the netizens were saying, let's see how Lin Che responds. Usually, if an artist scolds someone, then the matter is probably fake. If he doesn't say anything, then it's usually true. But what do these two children mean? Does it mean that Lin Che already has children? Seeing that Lin Che did not respond, the other party immediately spoke up again. Do you think that Lin Che tied the knot with the newcomer Zhou Yu? How could they do that? They already have children. Is that cheating? Divorce? Illegitimate children? Who is the father of the children? The big mystery of the entertainment industry begins now. The mystery of Lin Che's children. Everyone was very surprised. Was this child really Lin Che's? He already had children, but when did this happen? Lin Che hit it too well, wasn't he? Lin Che continued to ignore it. The fans started to explode. Lin Che, hurry up and explain what's going on here. Meanwhile, the paparazzi were still using all sorts of adjectives to smear Lin Che's name. Needless to say, there were many crimes that they had set for Lin Che. The first was to deceive the audience and pretend to be single. The second was to hide a child and date a newcomer. The netizens were very confused. What was going on? They could not understand it no matter how they thought about it. Meanwhile, on Lin Che's side, looking at the raging speculation online, some people said that Lin Che had probably gotten married a long time ago and then retired from the entertainment industry. After he returned, he rested for a year. Oh right, they felt that at that time, he should have gone to give birth to his child. The child's father was also guessed by people both inside and outside the entertainment industry. Actually, they had no other guesses. They just guessed all the men who had been involved in scandals with Lin Che in the past to see which one matched. Chapter 1365. In the end, they still felt that Gu Jingyu was the most likely suspect. Coincidentally, Gu Jingyu had gone abroad to study for a while, but no one knew what she was doing. However, no one had any evidence, so they could only make wild guesses. It was even more surprising that Lin Che didn't care about it at all. She was still focused on her filming, as if she wasn't affected by the incident at all. Even Xing Hui, who was watching from the side, couldn't help but ask. During the event, when Wu Yufei was being interviewed, she was unexpectedly asked how they felt about Lin Che. Did they know anything about Lin Che in the entertainment circle? Did they know that Lin Che was married or that she was very close to another man? Wu Yufei smiled and shook her head. Why are you asking me? I'm not close to Lin Che, but I did see her once. She seems to have 2 children, but I don't know anything else. Her words caused a huge uproar. All of a sudden, many people said that it was confirmed that she really had children, right? There was a heated discussion on the internet again. Everyone felt that this was indeed the best unsolved case of the year, especially when Lin Che was filming in seclusion. Other than one night, when he suddenly posted a picture of himself eating a watermelon with the caption, "I'm also one of the onlookers." It made people's imagination run wild. After that, it never appeared again. In order to force Lin Che to respond, the paparazzi continued to incite people and badmouth Lin Che on the internet. They said that Lin Che didn't respond. Did he have nothing to say? They said that Lin Che was too outrageous. He should have said it if he had children. There are also people who scolded Lin Che, asking if he had cheated on her after exposing their relationship. That would be too unexpected. At this moment, someone thought of Mu Firen. Since the 2 of them were best friends, they must have known about it. Why didn't anyone think of asking Mu Firen? Mu Firen was participating in a show this time. The reporters swarmed up and asked Mu Firen, "Do you know about the rumors about Lin Che that have been spreading on the internet recently?" When Mu Firen heard this, she looked unhappy. Lin Che has already said that she doesn't want people to pay attention to her private life. Why are you still chasing after her? The reporter said, but now some people are saying that she cheated. Mu Firen laughed and said, "What do you mean by cheating? Those paparazzi are too good at making up stories. Are they crazy because they are short of money? If they're so good at making up stories for clicks, why don't they write scripts? They must be fantasy dramas." So, you know it wasn't an affair? What's the matter with the child? And what's the matter with Zhou Yu? Mu Firen smiled mysteriously, which made the reporters even more expectant. Mu Firen stroked her hair lightly and kept them guessing. Zhou Yu? Hee, the child is his. Duh. All of a sudden, the reporters were stunned. With that, Mu Firen gave him 2 pieces of information. One was that she really did have a child, and the other was that the father of the child was Zhou Yu. The reporter hurriedly asked, "Did they already know each other? Then why is Zhou Yu still a newcomer?" Mu Firen said, "All our friends know about this. We know how they feel about each other. All I can say is that the person involved has to say it herself. We won't say it on her behalf. Also, those who are making wild guesses, please stop talking nonsense. They are in a good relationship, and it's useless for you to ruin it with rumors." When the paparazzi heard Mu Firen's words, they became anxious. What was going on? Lin Che's child was Zhou Yu's? At this time, Lin Che finally came out. That night, Lin Che's family of 4 appeared in front of the camera. A group of people filmed Lin Che and his 2 children, a boy and a girl, shopping with Zhou Yu. They were eating snacks on the street and playing with dolls with their children. All of a sudden, Mu Firen's words were proven to be true. The next day, the photos of the family of 4 were posted on the internet. At this time, Lin Che finally invited the reporters to attend the party at the conclusion of the filming of the TV series, which meant that he was ready to respond. That night, there was a party for the conclusion of the filming of Celestial Greasy. It was probably the most popular of all the parties. It was unprecedented, and no one knew if there would be someone like it in the future. All of a sudden, the crowded hotel was almost occupied by the reporters. When everyone saw that there were so many people, they hurriedly moved back. As for Olai, as the male lead, he was very excited when he walked out and saw so many reporters. Aya, following Lin Che, was really rewarding. There were so many reporters. This TV series was really popular before it even started airing. He immediately walked out and said, "Hello, everyone. Please be orderly, everyone." However, the reporters acted as if they did not see him and asked, "When is Lin Che coming out?" "Yeah, where's Zhou Yu? Is Zhou Yu here? Do you know about their relationship? Have they really known each other for a long time?" Duh. Olai shouted in his heart, "I'm the male lead. Why is it always Zhou Yu? Moreover, he was a young male star. He would not be ignored no matter where he went. However, at this moment, someone shouted, Lin Che is here. The reporters almost wanted to step over his head as they rushed towards Lin Che. Lin Che, you're finally here. Lin Che, what's going on? Is it true that they're a family of 4? Isn't Zhou Yu here? Is it true that they have a child? Lin Che looked at all the reporters and smiled. After everyone had asked their questions, he said slowly, Thank you, everyone, for coming to our celebration. I know that my family's recent private matters have taken up so much public attention, and it makes me feel very guilty. However, I've already said from the start that I don't like to sensationalize the news. I just want to live my days in peace. But some people just want to force us to respond. So I'll respond now and hope that they will let us rest for a few days and stop sensationalizing the news every day. Everyone listened attentively, and the atmosphere became incomparably quiet. Only Lin Che's voice could be heard. She said, That's right. Zhou Yu and I are husband and wife. We've known each other for many years, and we already have 2 children. To protect their privacy, I don't want to talk about their situation. Right now, they're in kindergarten and have their own innocent little lives. As for Zhou Yu, he's actually not a professional actor, and he doesn't want to join the entertainment industry. This time, he changed his name to Zhou Yu and came here to film just so that he could work with me and experience what my work is like. He didn't know that he had brought so much trouble to everyone. I'm sorry. Chapter 1366. Everyone suddenly understood. So that's why Lin Che smiled. I chose to keep my marriage a secret because my job is that of an artist, but in my life, I have other roles. One is my husband's wife, and the other is my child's mother. Although artists will become public figures, I still wish to separate my work from my life. That's why I made this choice. But now, my separation from work has been successfully broken by some people for business reasons. I have no choice but to come out and tell everyone that my life with my husband is very good, and I don't dare to cheat. I'm afraid that he'll break my legs. Thank you for your attention. After Lin Che finished speaking, he waved lightly. The reporters didn't have time to think. They just stood there and watched in a daze. Zhou Yu wasn't Zhou Yu. It was a fake name. He went to the filming set to accompany his wife. How romantic. Looking at the recent highlights of the couple, they said that they had been married for many years. But the feeling they gave before was that they were in love. So if he wasn't Zhou Yu, who was he? Some netizens were still feeling pity. Why did this man let Lin Che marry him so early on? And they even had 2 children. What exactly was this man doing? Some netizens even said, I still think that Lin Che and Gu Jingyu are more compatible. The netizens often saw Lin Che and other people in TV dramas. When they found out that Lin Che had married someone outside of the entertainment circle, they felt very uncomfortable. But soon, there were netizens who slapped them in the face. Lin Che's husband has been revealed. You guys don't know about the tycoon from Country C. This post said directly, Do you know who Lin Che's husband is? Gu Jingza. After checking repeatedly, I realized that Zhou Yu looks very similar to a photo on the internet. Then, we compared him repeatedly. We compared the place Lin Che lives, the bodyguards at his house, and the car Lin Che took. Finally, we confirmed that this person is definitely the head of the Gu family, Gu Jingza, the CEO of the Gu Corporation, Gu Jingming's younger brother, Gu Jingyu's older brother, and the youngest head of the Gu family. His marriage has always been a mystery, and so has his appearance. So, are there still fans who are absolutely sure that he isn't worthy of Lin Che? Let's not talk about anything else. Let's see how the Gu family ranks on the list of assets. Oh, right, their family isn't on the list. Why? Because their assets are never announced to the public. If they have too much, you'll be jealous. Do you understand? Ha ha. What? Gu Jingza? How many people would have never imagined that that person would be Gu Jingza? Lin Che's man was Gu Jingza. Was this for real? Those who knew Gu Jingza were shocked. Those who didn't know Gu Jingza were shocked when they read the introduction. He was Gu Jingming's younger brother and Gu Jingyu's older brother. On the other side, Star Lake was completely stunned. Liang Shan looked at the post and rubbed his eyes several times to make sure he wasn't seeing things. However, he was not mistaken. Many people had already replied to the post, adding to the legend of Gu Jingze and saying that the two of them had something in common. Sometimes, many people found something familiar but couldn't remember where they had seen it before. But when someone gave them a hint, everyone immediately remembered. The paparazzi's side immediately cried out in distress. Although they had yet to confirm their suspicions, they already wanted to completely erase all the rumors they had posted about Lin Che and Zhou Yu. Regardless of whether it was true or not, as long as there was a slight possibility, they would definitely not dare to believe it. Now, they really wished that time could turn back and this incident had never happened. But it was already impossible. At this moment, someone asked Lin Che on Weibo. They said that your husband is Gu Jingze. Is it true? Lin Che chose this comment and replied, is he that famous now? It's true. The netizens immediately took a screenshot of this reply. This reply was immediately posted on the forum. In an instant, the internet was once again trending. The legend of Gu Jingze was blown up. It didn't matter if it was true or not. It was all brought up. On the other side, some netizens immediately thought of the forgotten paparazzi. Someone immediately went to ask, hey, didn't you guys say that Lin Che had an affair? Where's your professionalism? Where's your manners? You said that you would only post it after confirming it. Look, you've slapped yourselves in the face. It's Gu Jingze. Are you guys going to be bought over? Great news. Are you guys going to disappear from the entertainment industry? You guys have offended Gu Jingze. This time, the arrogant paparazzi really didn't dare to reply. They were terrified. On the other side, Lin Che's invitation phone was exploding with calls. Many people were curious to know the whole story of their relationship. They also wanted to hear her talk about Gu Jingze. However, Lin Che seemed to have disappeared. He couldn't be bothered with these rumors anymore. He just let them speculate and didn't reply at all. Lin Che and Gu Jingze didn't pay attention to these scandals every day. In the company, Lin Che ran to Gu Corporation to seek refuge. She knew that Gu Jingze's place was the safest. Because it was airtight, the reporters outside didn't dare to go in. Now that the whole world was looking for her, she was really afraid that she would be surrounded no matter where she went. She might as well come here every day. Lin Che walked in, and Qin Hao hurriedly followed behind. Gu Jingze was busy with work and didn't care about the scandals at all. His life seemed to be the same as usual. However, when he looked at Lin Che, his smile was much brighter. Seeing that Lin Che was here again, he got up and took her to eat. What do you want to eat today? He asked. Lin Che slept at home for the whole morning and only came over when it was almost noon. Hearing Gu Jingze's words, she thought for a moment and said, why don't we eat takeout? I don't know what to eat. Gu Jingze said, you want to order takeout to be delivered to Gu Corporation? Lin Che blinked. She wondered if the person delivering the takeout would pee in his pants when he saw the address written on it. Gu Corporation's CEO's office. She laughed out loud. She thought it was funny. She said, you're right. I don't think the restaurant will accept it. They will probably think that I'm joking. Hey, what should we eat? I'm too lazy to eat out. She thought for a moment and suddenly said, why don't we eat at your cafeteria? Your company is so big. There must be a cafeteria, right? Gu Jingze looked at her. Are you sure? Lin Che placed his hand on his waist. That's right. Now that everyone knows about it, there's nothing to hide, right? Gu Jingze smiled. Oh, so I'm finally a permanent employee, right? Chapter 1367. Lin Che blushed. What are you talking about? Gu Jingze smiled in a good mood. He suddenly felt that it was relaxing not to hide it anymore. Although it was a little dangerous, it didn't mean that they wouldn't be in danger just because they didn't know about it. So it was better to show up openly and let them look around. The danger wouldn't be magnified. At least, they felt more relaxed after they didn't have to hide from those people. Of course, it might be because he felt fresh after letting go of the information. Anyway, he was in a good mood. They walked to the cafeteria together. The Gu Corporation's cafeteria was divided into several areas. One was for the employees, and the other was for the executives. Lin Che looked around. Both of the kitchens looked very sophisticated. After all, it was the Gu Corporation's cafeteria. It wasn't as shabby as the school cafeteria. It looked like a Western restaurant, except that there were Western and Chinese dishes. Lin Che said, "Wow, your cafeteria is so upscale." Gu Jingzi said, "Where are you going?" Lin Che looked around and said, "I'd better not go to the executives' cafeteria. The executives are looking at you like mice seeing a cat. It's boring." Hearing this, Gu Jingzi pursed his lips into a smile and looked over. Sure enough, when the executives saw that Gu Jingzi had actually brought Lin Che here, their gazes became more and more terrifying. Lin Che said, "Let's go to the employees' cafeteria. I think it's not bad there." Besides, the employees were too far away from Gu Jingzi, unlike some executives who had been in touch with Gu Jingzi and knew how harsh he was. The employees only heard rumors about him and were full of admiration for Gu Jingzi. They heard more about him because he was their boss's boss, which meant he was the person who usually scolded their boss. So, adhering to the principle that the enemy of my enemy is my friend, they also had a good impression of Gu Jingzi, so they looked at him with delight. Of course, they would choose a place like this to eat. Lin Che and Gu Jingzi walked in together. Some of the employees had just heard about the gossip between Gu Jingzi and Lin Che. Seeing them appear in public, they were very excited. Looking at Lin Che and Gu Jingzi, his eyes were filled with excitement and curiosity. When they saw Gu Jingzi embracing Lin Che in a seemingly casual and sweet manner, and thought about how the two of them had actually been husband and wife for many years, they both felt very surprised. Everyone knew who Lin Che was. After all, he was such a big star. Everyone knew him. His parents might not know him, but everyone in his generation knew him. Everyone knew Gu Jingzi. After all, he was the boss of their company. However, no one had ever connected the two of them together. Now that he saw them together, and right in front of him, how could he not be surprised? Lin Che and Gu Jingzi found a place to sit down. Immediately, the restaurant manager ran over. Her back was drenched in cold sweat. Seeing that Gu Jingzi had brought his wife here for dinner, she thought to herself, "Boss, he didn't say he was coming. Now that he suddenly showed up, they were at a loss." He didn't know if the food in the kitchen tasted good today. He didn't know if it was especially clean. He didn't know if the two of them would be dissatisfied. The manager hurriedly said, "President Gu, madam, what would you like to have for lunch? I'll get the kitchen to prepare it right away." Lin Che looked at Gu Jingzi. Gu Jingzi didn't seem to mind. Lin Che said, "Just eat the same as everyone else. There's no need to specially prepare anything. This is a buffet, right? I'll go and take a look. You don't have to worry about us." The manager saw this and felt that it wasn't good. Although the company had very strict requirements for the restaurant, Gu Jingzi was President Gu after all. His requirements were definitely higher than those of the employees. If there was a problem if they ate the same as the employees, it would be disastrous. However, since Lin Che had already said so, the manager couldn't do anything. Lin Che got up and went to pick some food. He felt that the food here was really good. He didn't know why the manager was so anxious. The treatment of the employees was really good. All the food here could be eaten by themselves. It was really not bad. When Lin Che came back, his face was still full of joy. "Your employees are so lucky. Are you going to eat a lot of people here?" Gu Jingzi also picked up some food to eat. Although he was a neat freak when it came to women, he was also fine with food as long as it was clean. Hence, he didn't care if it was self-service or not. He said, "The Gu Corporation is probably one of the most difficult companies to enter in the country. There are reasons why it's so difficult to enter. One of them is the good treatment. There are too many people applying every year, and there aren't many employees who leave or change jobs. Hence, those who can enter are the elites of the elites. It's only right to treat them well." Ah, look at your proud face. But look at how many of them are fat. Lin Che looked. There were indeed some fat people, but they were just average. Of course, it wasn't to such an exaggerated extent. Gu Jingzi said, "Good treatment also requires good returns." So you can see that there are people who work overtime at home at 12 o'clock every night and don't go home. All right, what a pervert. No wonder their faces were so yellow. She snorted and said, "Luckily I'm not your employee." "Yeah, people like you can't be my employee." As if I care. The two of them laughed and laughed there. The people next to them looked over from time to time. After eating, Gu Jingzi left with Lin Che. They almost bumped into someone who was about to barge in. If he had met someone like this in the past, Gu Jingze's face would have darkened. But today, Gu Jingze was happy, so he looked at the person and said lightly, "Be careful." When the person saw Lin Che and Gu Jingze together, she immediately said, "Wow, President Gu. Wow, Lin Che, I like you the most. You're so beautiful. You're actually our lady boss. We're so excited. Such a talkative employee." Didn't she know who they were? However, when Gu Jingze heard her say lady boss, he immediately raised his eyebrows happily and said, "All right, we'll have more chances to meet in the future." Lin Che also looked at her with a smile. Everyone looked at them from behind. Wow, President Gu's temper became so good when he was with Madame. Gu Jingze pulled Lin Che away first, leaving the employees of the Gu Corporation who were still gasping in admiration. The two of them were really in love, and it seemed that the gossip was true. Then President Gu really went to film a TV series. Their president really put in a lot of effort for Madame. Otherwise, why would a dignified President Gu go to film a TV series? But they were also very happy. President Gu, who had Madame, seemed to be much better in real life. He seemed to be more humane and didn't seem so unapproachable. Chapter 1368. Meanwhile, the situation outside had calmed down a little. Everyone had slowly accepted the two of them as a couple. However, they were still too mysterious. Hence, there were still many people who wanted to find out more about them. There were even people who went to the kindergarten to surround their children. Luckily, there were too many bodyguards and no one could enter the kindergarten. However, with so many reporters surrounding the kindergarten, many people were disgusted by them. They felt that the order of the kindergarten had been destroyed. Because Shi Yuan was still young, he didn't care much about it. Gu Shinian left through the side door every day and treated the reporters coldly. The teacher looked outside helplessly. Not letting them in was already the best they could do. They were watching from afar, and they couldn't chase them away. Lin Che was also very depressed at home. He could directly access the surveillance cameras at the kindergarten. Looking at the reporters outside, he felt very annoyed. However, people couldn't have everything at the same time. There would always be all kinds of troubles, and they couldn't take care of everything. Lin Che could only watch helplessly. At that moment, she saw someone posting something on the internet. They were talking about why Lin Che and Gu Jingze had never been exposed for so many years. Lin Che was like many other female celebrities. She immediately married into a rich family when she was a little famous. Was the life of a rich family good? Seeing that Lin Che had 2 children in a few years and might continue to have children indefinitely in the future, her husband didn't allow her to be exposed for so many years. It was obvious what the life of a rich family was like. The first part of the article said that Lin Che's marriage wasn't as good as it seemed on the surface. Then, they compared it with other female celebrities who married into rich families. It seemed that most of the female celebrities who married into rich families ended up like this. Then, they compared it with a few female celebrities who didn't marry into rich families and instead married ordinary people. It seemed that these female celebrities were the ones who had true love. Lin Che was so angry that she almost knocked the table. These people were crazy. She was so angry that she called Yu Minmin immediately. Yu Minmin said, "What's wrong with you again?" Lin Che said, "These people keep cursing me on the internet. Fuck, why do I want to marry into a rich family so much? They're talking as if I married Gu Jingze for money. They're talking as if they know everything. Why are these people so conspiratorial?" Yu Minmin understood. She chuckled and said, Yeah, you should let them know that things aren't as simple as they think. You poisoned her first and forced her to marry you. Sigh, they're so naive." Her words left Lin Che speechless. All right, now that I think about it, that's true. Hearing that she was silent, Yu Minmin smiled and said, "Forget it. Let's not talk about it. Let's just show them. I don't know who this person is. What's the point of making up these stories? It's all for the click-through rate. You don't know this, but it's the era of new media. These media companies all have advertisements under their contracts. Their advertising fees are based on the click-through rate. The higher the click-through rate, the higher the income. So of course they have to write these eye-catching things. Even if they don't have anything to say, they have to make something up. Otherwise, how can they make money? You still have to be realistic. You can't just say things without proof. That's not bad. At least I collected a few pictures for you. Didn't you see the more disgusting ones? The ones that write about feminism are full of twisted logic and heresy. They don't want to take any responsibility. They just write a bunch of chicken soup and call on women to stand up and fight against men. Then, they get a lot of attention from their female friends and earn a lot of money. I find it strange, too. It's a wonderful thing for a man and a woman to fall in love and get married. That's because your husband is not your enemy. Why do you have to fight against him for no reason? Shouldn't we be reasonable, act coquettishly, communicate with each other, relax, and promote our relationship? Why do you have to fight against him? Sigh. I should also open a public account like this one. I wonder if anyone will read it if I write about Gu Jingming's eccentricities. Lin Che analyzed the situation and said, sure, go ahead and write about it. The click-through rate should be high. If one day I'm defamed and can't make money, I'll rely on your eccentricities to make money. The two of them felt much better after scolding each other for a while. Yu Minmin said again, that paparazzi has been apologizing recently. Didn't you see it? I think he admitted defeat. The netizens are all celebrating. They said that this is the first time their family has apologized to a celebrity. They even said that you're the best. They've finally vented their anger. Lin Che didn't pay attention to this because there was too much information on the internet. She didn't have time to read all of them. Lin Che said, is he apologizing to me or to Gu Jingze? I think he saw that you guys aren't easy to deal with, so he just let it go. If he knew this would happen, he wouldn't have done it in the first place. While Lin Che was resting at home for a few days, there was good news from Hollywood. Shuiyang was still filming there. He was chosen by MBC, which produced American TV series. They wanted him to play a permanent role in their latest TV series. American TV series were different from domestic TV series. They were filmed and broadcast at the same time. Some of the characters would change frequently. The permanent characters were like the main leads. In their TV series, the male and female leads might not necessarily be the most popular characters. Often, according to the development of the plot and the taste of the audience, the proportion of the characters' scenes would also change accordingly. The scriptwriters would change the plot according to the audience's reaction. They would increase the plot for the popular characters and cut the plot for the unpopular ones. And the permanent characters were all very good characters. After Shuiyang was injured, there was a little scar on his face. Although it wasn't very obvious, it could be seen very clearly at a close distance. This kind of scar was not very noticeable in American TV series. When a makeup was applied in American TV series, it was not like some domestic TV series, which would grind the skin until it was white and clean. Not a single scar could be seen. It was as if everyone's skin was very good, regardless of whether it was a man or a woman. However, the makeup in American TV series was lighter, so the scar on the face was not a problem at all. It was said that the other party had taken a liking to his current face and was prepared to hire him. Of course, Yu Minmin happily agreed. There weren't many domestic stars like him who could get into an American TV series. Shuiyang could really be considered to have made a name for himself. However, Yu Minmin still said to Lin Che, I'm just worried that with his current face, you might not be able to see the scars after the facial scrub in China, but now that he's overseas, they won't be able to hide the scars. His fans will see that their idol is different now. Chapter 1369. Lin Che said, since you can't hide it, then don't hide it. Yu Minmin said, all right, it's not quite possible to take care of both sides. Since he could develop his career there, then let's see how far he can go. Lin Che originally thought that the news on the internet would end in a few days, but he didn't think that at this time he would see that many people were still guessing why the two of them hadn't been exposed for so many years, and why there hadn't been any movements after being exposed. He didn't know if there was a problem with the exposure. Lin Che looked at the news on the internet and felt very depressed. No wonder so many celebrities did not want to expose their relationships. Just looking at these guesses made her feel terrible. Most importantly, these people's guesses were like curses, and it made her feel uncomfortable. Beside her, Gu Jingze looked at Lin Che and said, what are you looking at again? Lin Che scratched her head and said, "These people are too boring." She was starting to regret admitting to these things. After the novelty of their relationship had passed, these people immediately started all kinds of guesses and conspiracy theories. They always thought of other people's affairs in a complicated way, and it made people feel helpless. Gu Jingze glanced at it casually and said to Lin Che, "After all, these are the minority. You've seen too much now, so it's natural that you're in a bad mood. If you're not happy, then don't look at it. Otherwise, you can come with me when I go on a business trip." Lin Che knew that he was going to Dubai soon. She shook her head. She couldn't be bothered to go to Dubai, especially when that bastard said was there. She said, "It's okay. I'll send you to the airport." Staying at home was boring, so it was good for her to go out for a walk and relax. However, when they reached the airport, Lin Che saw that the reporters outside had started following them. They actually knew that Lin Che and Gu Jingze would appear at the airport. Lin Che looked at them and pursed her lips. She looked up at Gu Jingze, feeling a little guilty and a little upset. Gu Jingze caressed her forehead and said, "What's wrong?" Lin Che was only wearing a simple sports shirt. It was white with blue stripes. Although she was already a mother of two, she still looked like a high school student. She looked at Gu Jingze and said, "I'm sorry. Maybe it was a mistake for me to expose them. Look, they are always following you. Isn't it affecting your work?" Gu Jingze lowered his head and wrapped his arms around her waist. He didn't say a word, but he held her face and kissed her deeply on the lips. They quietly embraced and kissed. Under his influence, Lin Che's mind slowly became more composed. Gu Jingze slowly let go of her. Only then did she remember that they were at the airport and there were many reporters watching them. Gu Jingze said, "They just think it's fresh. It's because we've kept it a secret for a long time and just made it public. You've never told us when we met and how we met. That's why outsiders are so eager to find out what happened between us. That's why they keep following us. If they know more about it, they won't find it fresh anymore." Lin Che blushed and looked behind them. Indeed, the reporters were crazily taking pictures of them. Their excited looks made her speechless. "What does that have to do with you kissing me just now? You're so annoying. But you don't have to. There's so many people watching." Although Lin Che had acted in many romantic scenes, it was definitely different to take pictures of her own life for others to see. She blushed and felt embarrassed. Gu Jingze smiled at her blushing face. He caressed her lips with his finger and said, "If they want to see it, let them see it. There will be a time when they get tired of it. If not, we'll get tired of it." Gu Jingze was willing to give up. However, it seemed that Gu Jingze was right. Because they didn't know, they were curious. When they saw more of it, they probably wouldn't be so curious to keep following them. It was like a certain stage in the industry. When a celebrity was very popular, everyone would follow them. But after a while, everyone would get tired of it and change to another celebrity. Actually, the logic was that simple. Gu Jingze said, "All right, don't think too much. I'll come back as soon as possible." "Okay." Lin Che nodded obediently. The two of them walked inside, holding hands all the way. They looked so sweet that it was enviable. At the end, they couldn't go in anymore. The reporters could only watch from the outside. They asked the airport staff, and the staff said that the Gu family had their own private jet. They had specially built a lounge in the airport for their private jet, and outsiders were not allowed to enter. The reporters sighed. As expected of the richest family in Country C, everything was different. The airport even specially built a lounge for their private jet. After they went back, the reporters had something to write about. In an instant, the pictures were all over the news network. Everyone saw the two of them kissing, holding hands, and then entering the lounge. It immediately dispelled the rumors that outsiders were talking about. Those who said that they didn't respond to each other, and whether it was because of the exposure that they had problems in their relationship, were instantly shut up. Lin Che went home and opened Weibo. Not long after, he leaned against the sofa and saw a trending post on Weibo. Gu Jingze opened Weibo. Lin Che was stunned. Gu Jingze opened Weibo? Why didn't she know about it? She quickly clicked on it and found that it was a message from the official Weibo account. It showed that Gu Jingze had indeed opened his Weibo account. He had just opened it, and Weibo immediately made a special topic for Gu Jingze and gave him a special authentication. The verified information was that he was the CEO of the Gu Financial Group, and the profile picture was a simple image of a big tree. He had just made his first Weibo post. No, to be more specific, he had reposted a Weibo post by Lin Che. It had been posted a long time ago, so long that she had almost forgotten about it. It was a beautiful castle. She had posted it and said, "So beautiful." And Gu Jing's repost was willful and domineering. It was full of the aura of a nouveau riche. There was only one word, buy. In an instant, the number of fans on Gu Jing's verified Weibo rose in waves. In an instant, it seemed to have gone from 0 to 100,000 fans. And his Weibo comments immediately went up to 10,000. She casually opened a comment and saw everyone's envious tone. Damn, his boyfriend power is at the max. A man is most charming when he says bye bye bye. Rich man, please hug his thigh. Rich man is inhumane. Hubby, fuck me. Harder. Lin Che rubbed his forehead. This Gu Jingza. Lin Che immediately asked Gu Jingza, "What are you doing?" Although Gu Jingza was on the plane, there was no need to block the signal. Usually, the signal would be blocked on the plane and all the electrical appliances would be turned off because they were worried that signal interference would cause danger. But Gu Jing's time was more precious. Basically, he would continue to talk and work on the plane, so the signal would never be cut off. Chapter 1370. Gu Jingza said, "What's wrong? I'm talking about your Weibo." "What? Can't I?" Gu Jing's voice was calm. Lin Che said, "I didn't say anything. I was just wondering, why did you suddenly open a Weibo?" "I thought it was fun." Duh. Gu Jingza smiled. "Not really. If they want to see it, we'll just send it to them. It'll get boring after a while." Duh. Lin Che thought for a long time. In the end, he could only come up with one conclusion. He just wanted to see people go crazy. Lin Che said, "All right then, but don't read the comments for no reason." "Why?" It's nothing. I'm just saying, there's nothing interesting in the comments, really. Plus, a lot of people are bored. They go and scold, but they'll be in a bad mood after reading it. But once they're done scolding, they don't have to take responsibility for it. Lin Che clicked on his comment and realized that it was really looking at his comment section. It was a completely different style from his own. There were all kinds of things in his world. He had a lot of fans and a lot of haters. But looking at Gu Jing's, he looked like he was visiting a brothel. People were saying, "Hurry up, hubby, fuck me. Hubby, come on. Hubby, I'm done showering. Lie down." Lin Che was speechless. But he knew that they were just joking, so he wasn't angry. He was just screaming in his heart that it wasn't fair. Why was there such a huge difference in the treatment of men and women? Actually, Gu Jingza didn't want to do anything. He just felt that if he kept hiding, everyone's attention would be on Lin Che. Then, Lin Che would be under too much pressure. If he could, he would use this method to put some of the focus on himself so that Lin Che would feel less pressured. Now that everyone had a place to vent, they wouldn't just go to Lin Che to ask questions. That would relieve a lot of pressure. In fact, his method was indeed effective. Seeing that Gu Jing's number of fans had skyrocketed, and looking at the comments, it was obvious that many people had gone there to play, ask questions, and make fun of him. Lin Chengcheng could finally take a break. Just then, Yu Minmin called again. "Look at Gu Jing's Weibo account this time. The response is quite good." Lin Che said, "What reaction?" "That's right. I've helped you shift the spotlight. Didn't you see that there aren't as many people scolding and guessing at you online now?" Lin Che paused for a moment, as if he suddenly understood why Gu Jingza had opened up Weibo. She was wondering why Gu Jingza would suddenly want to make these things public. He had always been used to keeping a low profile. There was never a photo or private information about him on the internet. He would never enjoy the feeling of being a celebrity for no reason. So it was because of this. Lin Che felt warmth in his heart. Yu Minmin said, "Actually, if you've thought it through, you should face it calmly. Since everyone has found out, let's make everything public. They won't have any secrets to pursue, and you might be more relaxed." Lin Che said, "Yeah, Gu Jingza said the same thing. He said that when everyone has seen enough, they won't have anything else to see." "That's right. That's why there's a parent-child show recently. Do you want to take your kid on it?" Lin Che said, So that's what you wanted to ask, right? Hee hee. I just thought of killing two birds with one stone. Your Nyin Yin is so handsome. If he participates in a parent-child reality show, he'll definitely charm a lot of people. It'd be a pity if he doesn't become a child star since he's so handsome. Lin Che was speechless. She asked, "What parent-child reality show are you talking about?" "It's been popular for a few years. Mom takes me on a trip. It's a show where everyone brings their kids out to play. This year, it's about to start. Someone just called to ask if we want to participate. I heard that it's not bad, so I called you." Lin Che said, "Taking my kid out to do a show. I still need to think about it. I'll also ask the kids for their opinion." Yu Minmin said, "I also said that you should think about it. Isn't your kindergarten full of paparazzi at night? They're waiting there every day to take pictures of your kid's face. Why don't you just expose yourself and let them take pictures when they have nothing better to do?" Lin Che nodded. After hanging up, he leaned against the wall and thought about how there would be a lot of trouble if the matter was exposed. However, thinking about it carefully, Yu Minmin's words weren't unreasonable. Anyway, their faces would be exposed sooner or later. These unscrupulous paparazzi wouldn't care whether they were kids or not, and whether they didn't want to be exposed. When Gu Shinian and Gu Xuan came back from class, Lin Che called the two of them over and told them about it. Unsurprisingly, Gu Shinian looked disgusted. "You're not talking about that reality show where a bunch of kids play, are you?" "I don't know. Anyway, it's the kind where they go to different places to experience life and travel." "No need. I'm not interested in this kind of thing. It's so childish. If you want to bring them, bring Shuyuan." "Why bring Shuyuan? She's so silly and young anyway. She wouldn't understand what you're doing anyway." How could he set his sister up like this? Lin Che looked at the naive Gu Shiyuan beside him. Lin Che pulled her over and asked, "Shuyuan, Mommy will bring you on TV, okay?" Shuyuan blinked her eyes. "Are you going to dance? Sing? Let's sing Little Apple together, okay?" Gu Shinian immediately said, Yes, you can sing Little Apple to your heart's content." Gu Shiyuan shouted, "Yeah, okay, I'll go with Mommy." Lin Che raised his head and glared at Gu Shinian. He really knew how to set people up. Gu Shinian raised his eyebrows, as if to say, "See, I knew it." Lin Che looked at Shuyuan, picked her up, and thought for a while. That night, he called Gu Jingze and told him about it. Gu Jingze said, "If the kids are okay with it, I'm okay with it. Anyway, since we've already said that they want to see us perform, we'll perform for them. So it doesn't matter anymore." Lin Che smiled. "You're going to be so infuriating." "Yeah, isn't that what they want to see?" That's right. So he directly sent a word, "Bye." Then countless people sighed and said that he was really rich and willful. Sigh, flaunting his wealth like this really made people very angry, but they could only smile. Lin Che thought about it. He felt that since Gu Jingze had agreed, he could actually try and see how the production team was doing. Chapter 1371. Lin Che did as he said. He told Yu Minmin about it, and his family agreed. However, Gu Shinian wouldn't go no matter what. He had already pushed the responsibility to his sister. Because his sister was only 3 years old, she didn't know much. However, Gu Shiyuan had more desire to perform than Gu Shinian. He wasn't as rigid as Gu Shiyuan. Gu Shiyuan loved to sing, dance, and perform for others. He loved to stand there and tell stories. Just like all the other girls, he liked to wear dresses and his mother's high heels. He liked to wear puffy skirts and shiny crowns. He would wear anything shiny on his head. Yu Minmin said, "I think they'll check to see if the child meets the requirements to go on the show. I'll go and ask." Actually, this show had been very popular for the past 2 years. It had even attracted some second-generation celebrities. Those cute kids were only a few years old, but they were already extremely popular. Although some of them were only famous for a while, there wouldn't be any problems after they faded out of the industry. However, it was very easy for some of them to continue being popular. All these years, some of these cute kids continued to go on the show and film on TV. Some parents had already chosen to let them go back to life, and they really weren't any different from normal kids anymore. Hence, Yu Minmin wasn't worried that it would affect the child's future. Sometimes, it was the parents' choice. It depended on which path they wanted their child to to take, and Lin Shaye would definitely think for the child. Moreover, there were indeed many people who wanted to compete for this reality show because some celebrities could naturally see the business opportunities in it. Some of them were even past their prime. If they went on the show, they could become popular again. Hence, when Yu Minmin went to talk to the production team, she saw many people trying to smooth things over. At first, Yu Minmin thought that they would have to consider it carefully. However, when Yu Minmin said it, they immediately agreed and asked Lin Shaye to bring the child over to have a look. Everyone would discuss it together, and all the rewards would be negotiable. Yu Minmin laughed dryly. She thought to herself that she had underestimated Lin Shaye's influence now. After she went back, she asked Lin Shaye to prepare and go over to try it out. Lin Shaye packed his things and took Gu Shiyuan with him. Gu Shiyuan was wearing a little skirt. Although she was chubby, she was very cute. This child was never picky. When she ate, she was only worried that she ate too much. She never worried that she wouldn't eat. Hence, if she really brought her out to do the show, she should be easy to feed. She met up with Yu Minmin at the entrance of the company. Yu Minmin looked at the chubby Gu Shiyuan and picked her up. "Ah, let Auntie carry you." Yu Minmin sighed as he held the heavy bag. "Oh my God, it's too heavy. What do you eat every day?" Lin Shaye shook his head helplessly. "I really didn't feed her anything." Yu Minmin laughed out loud. "But really, she's so fat. Most importantly, you and Gu Jingze are both so skinny. Why is she a chubby girl?" "It's okay. She's fat, but she's cute. It's okay. I'm just worried that she's too cute, and I want to pinch her. Look, her little face is like a little apple. I really want to take a bite." Minmin was, she's not as, she said before she, matter what, he, or he, she was, he, she, and she was, you was, he. Yu Minmin stared blankly for a moment before bursting into laughter. "Your brother really tricked you." Lin Shaye always thought that Gu Shinian treated his sister like a pig, letting her do whatever she wanted. It seemed like he wanted her to gain more weight. It really made people feel that he didn't want Gu Shinian to get married in the future. He just wanted to raise his sister like this. However, although Gu Shiyuan was chubby, she didn't worry about others calling her fat. She never felt inferior. Instead, she was proud of herself. It seemed like it had something to do with Gu Shinian's brainwashing. Of course, this was also because Gu Shiyuan had grown up in a loving big family. She had never lacked parental love. A lot of people doted on her, so she was very confident. There was no inferiority complex to speak of. She just felt that no matter what happened to her, everyone still loved her, so she would maintain her original heart, pure and lovely. Lin Shaye wasn't worried that her personality would change. Gu Shiyuan was a cheerful child. She was very talkative. She was completely different from Gu Shinian. Gu Jingze often said that Gu Shiyuan, except for her looks, had inherited everything else from him. What did he mean? Wasn't it good to inherit her personality and temperament? As they spoke, Yu Minmin brought Lin Shaye to the production team's office. Yu Minmin said as they walked, "At first, I thought they were going to choose, but now it seems like they can't wait for you to appear on the show. Thinking about it, you're in the news no matter where you go. They're already overjoyed to be able to participate in their show and expose your child's face on their show. Hence, it shouldn't be a problem for you to appear on the show if you want to." Lin Shaye said, "Is that so? I saw a lot of netizens making guesses online. This season's competition is quite big. There are quite a lot of competitors. But they aren't as important as you. Don't worry too much. Exposing your face for the first time on the show is something many people choose to do. In the first season, it was either Johan or his daughter who exposed themselves for the first time. It was also because there were too many paparazzi chasing after them. He had no choice but to expose himself. And you know that athlete? That swimmer, Mugen, was so angry that he posted it online. He said that you guys can watch as you like, and please don't follow us. Sigh, it's all because of the paparazzi." Lin Shaye nodded. "Since I've already decided to do it, I won't regret it." Very quickly, they reached the production team. At the entrance, the director brought a few staff members over to welcome them. "Aya, hello Lin Shaye. This must be our little princess. Aya, she's too cute." Lin Shaye smiled and stretched out his hand. "Hello." Gu Shiyuan was still there. She raised her head and looked at him. She mimicked her mother and said hello. The few adults looked at her big eyes, and it was as if they had been cured in an instant. Aya, she's too cute, and she's so polite. She'll definitely be very popular on the show. She looks just like a little angel. Not to mention that this chubby child's looks were originally so sweet. She had perfectly inherited her parents' pretty looks. She had big eyes and thin lips. When she pouted, she looked so cute that she looked like a little animal. But this child's status, that was the real little princess. This child's surname was Gu. They had not forgotten that. Lin Che and the child were welcomed in together. A few of the more experienced staff members were playing with the child. And Gu Xiwan did not have stage fright at all. She was just a little lazy. She kept yawning as she looked at them and kept asking if there was anything to eat. Could she eat ice cream? Could she eat ice cream? Could she eat this? Could she eat that? Chapter 1372. The few of them were really touched by this child's cuteness. They kept coaxing her and didn't want to let her go. Moreover, they definitely didn't like her just on the surface. They really felt that she was too likable. Even in private, the few of them were saying, she's so chubby and cute. I feel like I want to pinch every piece of flesh on her body. Yeah, although she's chubby, it doesn't affect her face at all. I can only say that her genes are too good. But I don't know if people will feel this way when they don't see her in person on TV. Anyway, whoever sees this child will like her. Anyway, I don't know if it's because her father is too powerful or because she herself is from a rich family, but I just like her when I see her. It must be because I'm too snobbish. How can that be? We'll like her too. If you want to be snobbish, let's be snobbish together. As Lin Che sat there and said, the director also said, we think this child is good. She's very cute and has a good sense of camera. Moreover, she has a lot of desire to perform. I can see that it's because you're an old artist with good genes that she has had a star image since she was young. If she takes this path in the future, she will definitely become a big star. Lin Che smiled and said, thank you for the compliment, director. I really can't accept it. I'm still an old artist. Of course, of course. Did you forget that you're a movie queen? No. That's so far away. I haven't won any awards in a long time. These are all superficial. I said that you have the talent of an old artist. Look, you're such a big shot, and yet you're still so humble. As Lin Che listened to his compliments, he felt embarrassed. Looking at Lin Che, he was also worried. After looking at her for a long time, he said, look at this reward. I won't hide it from you. The highest reward is Dafei and Dafei's mother, Cheng Huanhuan. Because the two of them have always been very popular, their reward is 50 million. We'll give you the same price as her. What do you think? Sai, I originally wanted to give you a good price, but looking at your family situation, who cares about our money? 50 million. Indeed, this was a very high price for a reality show. An A-list big shot would only be paid around 30 million. Although a reality show required one to have a schedule, the schedule was not that tight. During the time between filming, one could still continue with other work. Moreover, a reality show was much easier than filming a TV series. That was why everyone liked it so much. Lin Che smiled. It's already a lot, thank you. Then, I'll get someone from the company to discuss the specifics. The two of them shook hands. The other party felt that Lin Che was really not bad. He was such a big shot, so rich, and the dignified Mrs. Gu was so easy to talk to. They had interacted with all kinds of celebrities. Those with good personalities were naturally good, but when they met someone with a bad personality, they could only accept it. So when they met a big shot like Lin Che, who had such a good temper, they were really grateful. Even if Lin Che was busy, as long as she could participate, they would do their best to please her. Who would have thought that everything would go so smoothly? When Lin Che went out, he saw that his child was acting really friendly. He held a snow pancake in one hand and a chocolate in the other, and he was even chewing on a lollipop in his mouth that he was eating in such a short time. A few staff members surrounded her, and she ate in the middle with her cheeks bulging. Lin Che was really speechless. This little foodie. However, Yu Minmin was so happy that she squinted her eyes and said to Lin Che, not bad, not bad. 50 million. We'll be able to film next season. Duh. After the production of Mom, Take Me on a Trip began, there were many speculations about the people who would be participating this time. This time, the 2 groups of guests from last time would be retained, and the other 3 groups would be newcomers. Everyone didn't know that Lin Shaye would be joining, and they were speculating about a few celebrities who had been spending a lot of time with their children in recent years. However, at this time, the production team released a piece of news. This season, there will be a mystery guest joining the family. Everyone can guess to their heart's content. The production team's poster was a black shadow of a mother carrying a child. The character was unclear, but below it was written, "She is the heavenly queen. She is a mother. She is an admirable woman, and she is a courageous Superman." Everyone guessed that the heavenly queen, that could it be Mu Firen? She had brought her daughter back after coming back. However, Mu Firen had been resting recently, so no one guessed it. Ever since Lin Shaye and Gu Jing's relationship was exposed, Mu Firen had been harassed every other day, and she was already used to it. In the afternoon, Mu Firen came to Lin Shaye's house for tea. She brought Yun along, and she looked at Lin Shaye and said, "I heard that you're going to participate in a reality show. Io, you're going to win a lot of fans this time. Are you going to bring Yin along?" Lin Shaye rolled his eyes. "Do you think Yin will go?" "Okay, I think it's not in line with his personality. Otherwise, if he really wanted to participate, he would definitely be mesmerized. You're saying the same thing as Yuminmin. It's a pity that he would rather die than go with you." Lin Shaye looked at Mu Firen apologetically. "I'm really sorry that you've been disturbed because of me." Mu Firen said, "What are you talking about? You don't have to be so polite with me. You're apologizing to me? Didn't I become a hot topic along with you? They couldn't interview you, so they thought of me first. I've gained a lot of exposure all of a sudden." Lin Shaye said, "You still need exposure. A big shot like him would be news wherever he went, so he didn't need to deliberately increase his exposure." However, Mu Firen said that because they were on the same side, she didn't want Lin Shaye to blame himself too much. She comforted him and said, "It's okay. Based on my experience, they won't chase after you after a while. When Mo Ding and I were chased for a few months, they still said that no one cared about us in the end." Yes, Lin Shaye knew that this was just a bad time for her. Once she got over it, she would be fine. "Hey, you guys are here. It took me so long to find you." Black Hawk walked in at this moment and looked at the 2 of them. Lin Shaye looked at him in disdain. "Why are you here again?" Black Hawk said, "Why? I'm not here to see you." He sat down next to Mu Firen with a smile. It was obvious that Mu Firen was finally numb from being pestered by him. She sat there helplessly and supported her chin with her hand. Lin Shaye thought that the old saying was right. A good woman was afraid of a pestering man. Mu Firen was so resolute at the beginning, but she was still pestered by Black Hawk. Chapter 1373. Lin Shaye snorted and looked at the Black Hawk. "You're really something. Wherever I go, you follow me so closely. Don't you have any privacy?" Haing glared at her. "You should be busy showing off your love. Who cares about others?" "Huh, we're at my house now. Believe it or not, I'll get someone to get you out." Haing looked at the security guards who were glaring at him. It would be difficult for him to get so many people to leave alone. He thought about it and compromised. He tried to please Lin Shaye. "Hey, I'm your brother. Can't you give me some face here?" Lin Shaye glared at him. It was rare for him to show such weakness. He cleared his throat and ignored her. Since Haing was here, Mu Firen had nothing to say. She said goodbye to Lin Shaye and left. Haing opened the car door for her and took her away. Mu Firen looked back at Lin Shaye helplessly. Lin Shaye smiled and waved for her to leave first. She was happy to see that they could have a good ending, especially since they were both very important people to her. She didn't want anything bad to happen between them. Lin Shaye was going to participate in the show. Although the publicity was still going on, they had already started preparing for the shoot inside. Lin Shaye had been informed in advance that he would come to the house to start the shoot in a few days. For the sake of authenticity, they would definitely enter the house to film. But for the safety of the Gu family, they weren't allowed to film outside. They couldn't film any of the security guards. They could only film some of the interior of the house. The staff sighed when they entered the Gu family's house. They were even more shocked when they saw that the security guards were holding real guns. No wonder everyone said that the Gu family was the wealthiest family in the world. Only now did they understand what it meant to be a nouveau riche and what a true wealthy family was. Those so-called young masters and young ladies outside were all the daughters and young masters of nouveau riche families. When they entered the house early in the morning, the servants had already retreated to the back. They invited the staff inside and then left. Lin Che appeared without any makeup. She had come out a few times without makeup, so there was nothing wrong with it. When she opened the door and saw the camera, she smiled and invited them in. "This is our wish room," she said by way of introduction. The staff member looked inside and asked, "Wow, does she live here alone? Does she sleep alone at night?" Lin Che said, "Yeah, she's been sleeping alone since she was young. However, when she was young, there was a surveillance camera at all times. If anything happened to her, I could come over immediately. Now, there's no need for that anymore. If she needs help, she will jump out of bed to look for me." Everyone looked at the big room. The room was simple and dreamy, and it looked very cute. Several staff members thought enviously. This room was as big as their entire home. However, after seeing how big the Gu family was, they had already mentally prepared themselves. As soon as he went out, he bumped into another child of the Gu family. Gu Shinian. "Wow, he's so handsome. Is this little handsome brother the big brother of our family?" The few of them looked at Gu Shinian, who was dressed in pajamas and looking at them with a serious expression. They were instantly attracted by that devilish little face. Lin Che said, "Nian Nian, come and smile." Gu Shinian made a "you guys are so silly" expression, and everyone immediately felt that he was even cuter. Lin Che said, "Forget it. He doesn't like to talk. Let's go in and look for Xiwan." Everyone went in and saw that Gu Xiwan was sleeping soundly on the big bed. His sleeping posture looked very alluring. Lin Che went over to pat Gu Xiwan. "Gu Xiwan, wake up." Gu Xiwan didn't move. He humped a few times and didn't want to get up. Lin Che tried a few methods, but to no avail. In the end, he said, "Gu Xiwan, get up and eat some ice cream." Hearing this, Gu Xiwan immediately opened his eyes in a daze. Ice cream. Everyone laughed out loud. They felt that this little foodie was really too funny. After a while, they washed their faces and brushed their teeth. Lin Che and Gu Xiwan were together. Gu Xiwan had just woken up and looked very dazed. In the eyes of the people filming, they felt that the child was even more adorable. The camera kept pointing at her. After filming, they went out to continue filming. When they went outside, they were searched again and were not allowed to bring out any personal recording equipment. Such a strict rule made the few staff members even more respectful. They looked at Lin Che and thought that this rich family was really not an ordinary one. Very soon, they reached the gathering place. The other mothers had already arrived with their children. Seeing Lin Che carrying Gu Xiwan over, a few mothers came over to greet him. "I heard that a big shot joined this time. It's really you." Although they were all people in the industry, they didn't usually interact with Lin Che. Lin Che smiled and greeted them. When they first met, everyone complimented each other. They were still rather reserved. "Everyone, please take care of me, especially the few seniors who have participated before." 4 of them were here for the first time. The other 2 were old people. They were naturally very familiar with each other. One was called Cheng Huan. She and their Dafei were the most popular couple in recent seasons. The other one was much more low-key and gentle. She looked at Lin Che. Because she had filmed many times, she still had a strong sense of variety. She greeted him first and said, "Let me tell you, the production team is very stingy and loves to prank people. They don't care about our lives at all. You have to be prepared in advance." Everyone laughed. Only Cheng Huan laughed and said, "Lin Che is a rich family's wife. He definitely can't take this. This place isn't as comfortable as your home." These words didn't sound like much, but there was a hint of jealousy in them. Lin Che looked at Cheng Huan and said, Yeah, I regretted it the moment I came. I was dragged out early in the morning. I felt like I wanted to take a break, but now it's even more tiring." For the sake of the show, Lin Che naturally complained and didn't care about the jealousy in her words. But Cheng Huan looked at Lin Che with a smile. That smile made people feel uncomfortable no matter how they looked at it. Of course, Chung Huan wasn't happy, especially when she heard from the staff that Lin Che's remuneration was the same as hers. As everyone knew, in the past few seasons, she had relied on her scolding and unreasonable behavior, as well as her funny performances with the children to win a lot of attention. Their Dafei was also the most popular among all the children. It was because he loved to talk, could talk, and was especially funny. For many seasons, he had been the main focus of attention. In every episode, they were given the most screen time. Now, Lin Che, who had just arrived and hadn't even filmed yet, was paid the same as her. How could she not be angry? Sorry, because I was in the hospital yesterday. I took a day off and couldn't update. I asked my friend to post in the comment section and also took a day off from the website. I'll try my best to update today, but I have to go to the hospital soon. I'll write while I'm there. Chapter 1374. It was because she was good at creating hype outside and had the title of movie queen. But in this show, Chung Huan was the boss. At the beginning of the show, Lin Che took Gu Xiuan, who was eating and drinking everywhere, to play with her. Gu Xiuan was very familiar with everyone and easy to take care of. As long as she was given food, she would be very happy. Everyone liked Gu Xiuan very much, especially the other mothers who were trying to get close to Lin Che. They thought that Gu Xiuan was Gu Jing's daughter, the daughter of the Gu family, and Lin Che was a famous mother. If they wanted to please Lin Che, they should start by treating her well. So they were very nice to Gu Xiuan. When they had nothing to do, they would say that Gu Xiuan was so cute and beautiful. Chung Huan felt even more annoyed when she saw that. She said to Dafei in private, "See that? That's a rich girl. She has a little more money than us. Everyone likes rich people. If it goes on like this, your first place will be taken away by others." Dafei was just a 6-year-old child. He became popular too early, which made his heart inflated. Although he still understood what it meant to be popular, seeing so many people around him every day, and his family also worshipped him like a little emperor, he naturally felt a little different in his heart. In addition, Chung Huan's guidance made him feel that everyone was like this because he was popular. He was very afraid that he could not be the center of the world and did not want others to take his position away. Hearing Chung Huan's words and seeing Gu Xiuan's appearance, Dafei was very angry. During the meal, Dafei deliberately sat next to Gu Xiuan. When he saw Gu Xiuan eating, he went over to put something in her bowl. Although Gu Xiuan was still young, she would tell these simple things loudly to her parents. Especially for Gu Xiuan, eating was such a sacred thing. How could she put dirty things in such good food? Although she was delicious, she was a child who loved cleanliness very much. So Gu Xiuan shouted, "Mom, someone put something in. Papa, my rice." Lin Che turned around and saw that Dafei was making faces at the side. Lin Che glanced at Dafei and said, "Well, Brother Dafei is joking with you. Let's change a bowl of rice." "All right." Gu Xiuan nodded obediently. Seeing this, Chung Huan knew that the camera was still filming, so she immediately went over and said, "Dafei, you can't joke with your sister like this. Apologize to her properly. Do you hear me?" Dafei was unwilling. He turned his head and said, I didn't do it. She said it on purpose." Chung Huan frowned. "Dafei, tell Mommy if you did it." "Not me." Lin Che said, "Forget it. I'll ask him when we get back." In front of so many people, the child felt that he had lost face. Lin Che thought that he should go back and ask slowly in private, which was more considerate of the child's self-esteem. But unexpectedly, Dafei burst into tears and said as he cried, "I didn't do it. You can't accuse me falsely." Seeing him crying, Chung Huan scolded, "Dafei, you're the oldest. You can't be disobedient. Who framed you? Your sister is only 3 years old. How could she frame others?" Dafei shouted, "Why not? Her family is rich, and so is she, so everyone listens to her and doesn't believe me. I just don't have as much money as she does." Lin Che was a little stunned for a moment. How could this child say such a thing at such a young age? If he hadn't heard it from an adult, how would he know whether someone was rich or not? Chung Huan pretended to be calm and acted as if it had nothing to do with her. She coaxed the child and said, "Well, who told you that? It's the same whether you have money or not. Money can't buy the whole world. She can't do anything to you even if she has money. Why are you crying?" Lin Che raised his eyebrows. Could it be that she was talking to him? Everyone looked at them and felt a little awkward. One was Lin Che, and the other was the most authoritative and popular person in this program. They didn't want to offend either of them, so they could only laugh it off. "Well, the child is talking nonsense. Let's eat." Lin Che looked at Chung Huan, but Chung Huan deliberately kept a straight face and didn't look at Lin Che. Lin Che curled his lips into a smile and said, "That's right, Da Fei. No matter how rich my family is, we can only spend so much. In life, money isn't the most important thing. Personal charm is the most important thing. If you have personal charm, magnanimity, and elegance, then you will always be the center of the world. You will always be the best, right?" Da Fei turned his head to look at Lin Che, but he didn't like Lin Che the moment he saw him. It was very simple for a child to dislike someone. He felt that her arrival threatened his position, so he just didn't like her. No matter how much she tried to be nice to him, he still didn't like her. Da Fei turned his head away and snorted. When Chung Huan heard this, she thought, "She's really good at talking. She knows that there are cameras, but she still said it so magnanimously." Chung Huan said, "Look, Annie is right? Da Fei is the best. Don't cry, Da Fei." When the other mothers saw this, they naturally understood that Chung Huan was deliberately making things difficult for Lin Che, saying that she had money to buy everything. Everyone also felt that Chung Huan was a little too much. No matter what, she couldn't use a child to do this. But this was her own child, and she could use him however she wanted. It was better for them to stay as far away as possible. It was better not to get involved with the quarrels between the two of them. When this part was over, Chung Huan felt that it was a bad influence, so she quickly ran to the production crew. "Although we filmed this part, it's better not to release it, right?" The production crew had been dealing with Chung Huan for so many years, so of course they knew what she meant. Chung Huan relied on acting crazy to attract attention. She was very popular these years, but her temper wasn't small either. She liked to interfere with the production crew's post-production editing when she had nothing to do. If there was anything that was not good for her, she hoped that it could be cut. This time, it was obvious that Da Fei's actions were annoying, so she immediately thought that it would be better to cut it. The production crew was also doing this for the sake of the entire show. They didn't want to lose this pair of popular mother and son, so they could only agree. But they didn't forget to remind Chung Huan, "Don't provoke Lin Che if you don't have anything to do. She's not someone to be trifled with." Chung Huan harumphed. "All right, I got it. Isn't she Mrs. Gu? Is she rich? I can't afford to offend her, but can't I just hide from her?" Seeing her attitude, the production crew didn't say anything else. Some things could only be said when it was appropriate, right? The group of people went from the city to the countryside. The gathering at the beginning was just the beginning. Later on, when they reached the countryside, they would go through the experiential activities. All the celebrities had big and small bags, and they brought along a bunch of luggage. Lin Che was the simplest of them all. Because they were going to the countryside, their luggage was relatively simple. The main thing was that the children's belongings took up more space. Chapter 1375. Very quickly, they arrived at the village. Along the way, the motorcade went from the city's asphalt road to the village's stone road. The line of cars carried the few people who were participating in the show. The children who were participating in the show for the first time looked outside curiously. The two children who had participated in many episodes were much calmer. Just as they reached the village entrance, they saw many villagers looking outside. In the distance, they could even see banners flying in the air, saying that they were welcoming the arrival of the production crew. The production crew also felt that this was a little too much. They said that they were here to experience life. But how could it be as if they were going to the countryside for a field trip? There were so many people lining up to welcome them. In the car, she said embarrassedly, "We didn't arrange this. These villagers did it on their own accord. When they chose their village, the village chief was very happy. In the past, many of the places that were chosen had already built their own tourist areas. I guess they thought that they could finally become rich. Lin Che looked outside. Gu Xiuan, who was in his arms, felt very curious. She kept asking her mother what this was and what that was. A big rooster, a donkey, and even a pig. It was her first time seeing them alive, and she was very curious. Lin Che felt that he was bringing a child to play, so he enthusiastically introduced them. Very quickly, they arrived. He heard Cheng Huan Huan say from behind, "This place is much more rundown than the previous time. Didn't I say that we wouldn't go to such a rundown place?" There were other villagers at the side who heard this. They laughed awkwardly, feeling very embarrassed. The production crew said, for the show's effect, "This is the first episode. Of course, we have to choose an interesting place." Cheng Huan Huan pulled the child along and gave gifts to the villagers to welcome them. She was already very good at this kind of thing. Da Fei was still there, waving like a celebrity, saying to everyone, "Hello, hello, don't push, don't push." A villager at the side said, "The children of rich families in the city are really different. They're so polite to others." Da Fei smiled. No, it's what we should do, what we should do." Lin Che and Gu Xiuan went inside to eat. The production team was also worried that it would be too unfair for these celebrities who were usually used to being glamorous. In fact, the interior was still considered clean. He looked at Lin Che and said, "I like your show the most. My son used to watch you every day and said that you were really good looking. If he knew that you guys had come to our village, he would definitely come back immediately. It's just that he's working far away, and it usually takes him 2 or 3 days to come back. By then, you guys would be gone, and our place would be too dirty and messy. You definitely wouldn't be used to it. We cleaned it up. Take a look and see if it's okay." Looking at the room, Lin Che smiled and said, "It's pretty clean, much cleaner than me. I'm especially lazy at home. I don't clean anything. As celebrities, all you need to know is how to make money. Being a celebrity is a dirty and tiring job. Haven't you seen it? The production team is 100 times messier than here. To the production team, this is like a 5-star hotel. The superstar really knows how to talk. Come in, come in." The villager was all smiles. He felt that Lin Che was really good at talking. Even if he was just being polite, he was already very happy. Actually, Lin Che really didn't mind. If he let her go over without a helper to help her clean, it really wouldn't be as clean as this place. They were going to stay here for 2 days. On the second day, Lin Che went to the fields with the villagers to play. Gu Xiuan had never seen wheat or a hoe before. Lin Che brought Gu Xiuan over to play and even asked for a hoe from the villager. Then, he brought Gu Xiuan to cut the weeds. The villager watched from the side and taught the child how to do it. "Look, this is the wheat seedling and this is the grass. Cut the grass and leave the wheat seedling. This wheat seedling is used to make noodles and steamed buns. If you cut it, there will be no steamed buns to eat. Do you understand?" Gu Xiuan misunderstood. He thought that she meant that if she cut it, there would be no steamed buns to eat today. In order to eat steamed buns later, she quickly and seriously shoveled the fields. The villager watched with a smile. "Look, the children in the city aren't bad either. They can already shovel the fields at 3 years old. Who said that all children in the city have poor health?" Lin Che was very interested in watching from the side. However, Cheng Huan Huan and the others passed by. Cheng Huan Huan said, "She really knows how to show off. She really thinks that people will like her just because she plays this kind of friendly game. Reality shows are like this. If there's nothing special, no one will care about her. She's so stupid." Lin Che couldn't be bothered with this. Anyway, he brought her here to play. He didn't really expect to win anyone's favor. Very quickly, the first episode ended. Lin Che brought the child home. Gu Xinian looked at his tan sister and felt his heart ache. He didn't care about Lin Che and directly brought his sister over to ask, "What did you do? Did anyone bully you?" Lin Che watched from behind and shook his head speechlessly. This sister complex didn't care about her at all. She didn't even ask first when she came back. However, on the other side, as usual, Gu Xiuan told everything to his elder brother, stumbling and stumbling. She said directly, Brother Dafe put something in my bowl. Gu Shernyan's eyes narrowed. Brother Dafe? Because his sister was going to participate in the show. He had seen it before. He also knew about that Dafe. He dared to bully his sister. The next day, Lin Che continued to film. The program team had prepared the principle of resting for 2 weeks after filming 2 episodes before continuing. Lin Che brought Gu Shiwan to pack their things and was about to leave. Gu Shinian looked at his mother from behind and smiled. Goodbye, Mom. Take care of your sister. Lin Che looked at Gu Shinian. He was so sensible and polite today. Of course, maybe he was saying that to take care of his sister. Lin Che left just like that. However, just as Lin Che left, Gu Shinian pulled down a staff member. Sister, how about I add a surprise for your show? The staff member was stunned at first. She looked at this cold and distant handsome child. He was talking to her, and he even said it so nicely. Inexplicably, she was already attracted by his words. She was attracted by his confident gaze. Although he was only a few years old, he gave off a very stable and trustworthy feeling. His appearance was truly baffling. What surprise do you have? A hint of slyness flashed across Gu Shernyan's eyes. Squat down, and I'll tell you. Lin Che pulled Gu Shiwan out. Naturally, he didn't know anything about this. On the other side, when Cheng Huan saw Lin Che coming, although she looked very disdainful, for the sake of the show, she still talked with him. But anyone with eyes could see that the two of them were very far apart. Moreover, Cheng Huan's Dafe was also influenced by his mother. When he saw Lin Che, he rolled his eyes. Cheng Huan saw the effects of the show. This time, the effects on her side were still better. The production team still gave her the most time. It could be seen that even if Lin Che came, it would be useless. He could not shake her position at all. Gu Shinian picked up Gu Shiwan. Although he wasn't big, he was very strong. He picked up Gu Shiwan effortlessly. His actions were very impressive, making people feel amazed. He had a Max boyfriend. Wow, he's actually Lin Che's son. He's so cute. Lin Che, you're so lucky to have such a handsome son. Yeah, your son is cute, and so is your daughter. You're so happy. While everyone was exclaiming, Lin Che was still surprised. And Cheng Huan, who was at the side, had already narrowed her eyes dangerously. The program crew had actually brought Lin Che's son here too. All of a sudden, Lin Che's family became the focus of attention again. Cheng Huan gritted her teeth, but she saw Gu Shernyan's small eyes looking at her. At that moment, she thought that she had seen wrongly. Why did she feel that his eyes were filled with coldness? No, he's just a child. Why would she be afraid of him? Gu Shinian and Gu Shiwan arrived together. The program crew then said, "This time, our little idol is here as a guest for this episode. Everyone's group is the same. Let's start the mission now." The program crew was very welcoming of Gu Shinian. After all, there was suddenly another gimmick, wasn't there? Moreover, Gu Shinian was so handsome, he would definitely attract a lot of fangirls. At first, Dafe was also liked because he was very handsome, but compared to Gu Shinian, Dafe was not worth looking at. After all, Gu Shinian had both Gu Jingze and Lin Che's genes. He looked more like Gu Jingze, but he also had many of Lin Che's characteristics. He was simply a combination of the two of them, and he had a different temperament. Young girls nowadays liked cute little boys like him. Moreover, because he was the heir of the Gu family, the eldest son of Gu Jingze, the program crew also attached great importance to him, so they called him Little Idol. Soon, the mission began. This time, the child and the mother would do the mission separately. Gu Shinian held Gu Shiwan's hand, and the children of the other mothers saw Gu Shinian and came over to take a look. Children were more familiar with each other, and they quickly started talking to each other, so they ran over and surrounded Gu Shinian. This made Dafe even angrier, because he was popular, and because he was the only handsome little boy in the past. These young girls liked to surround him, and the little boys also treated him as their boss. Now, Gu Shinian had just arrived, and he had stolen the limelight. Dafe was very unhappy. Children were not as good at hiding their emotions as adults, So Dafe directly found fault with him. He said, "Other families only have one child. Why do you have two? You're wrong." Gu Shinian raised his head and looked at Dafe. Chapter 1377. Although he was a little shorter than Dafe, his aura was much higher than Dafe's. Gu Shinian said, "You can ask your mother to give birth to one more. Then there will be two. You." Gu Shinian pulled Gu Xiuan over. The children looked at Gu Shinian, and their faces were full of surprise. Wow, he dared to talk to Dafe like that. Dafe was very powerful. All of a sudden, they felt that Gu Shinian was very handsome. Children's love was so simple. Several children followed them at once, pushing Dafe to the back. Dafe was a little angry at the back. He thought that in a while, he would definitely teach you a lesson and make you go against me. At the later part of the mission, the children were assigned to play games together. Dafe looked at Gu Shinian and pulled Gu Xiuan. He was used to being the boss and had been commanding everyone. "Go over there. Everyone, come and cheer up." Then, Dafe looked at Gu Xiuan and went straight over. He hit the soles of her feet. Gu Xiuan held the rope and fell to the ground with a clatter. Dafe jumped to the side. However, Gu Shinian walked straight over. He looked at Dafe and the expression on Dafe's face that said, "What can you do to me?" Gu Shinian walked straight over. Dafe was still there with a proud look on his face because he was tall and strong. But he didn't know that Gu Shinian had grabbed his wrist. Before he could react, he was directly turned over to the ground. Dafe was stunned for a moment. Then he felt a pain in his back. With a wah, he started crying. At the back, the girls had never seen such a situation before. Gu Shinian was using the grappling technique in the training camp. It was the simplest grappling technique, but for ordinary children, it was already very high-end. Everyone looked at him in surprise, and they all cried out. So powerful. Gu Shinian was so powerful. He looked so handsome when he was fighting, and his movements were so powerful. He was like one of those stars with superpowers on TV. Wow! Gu Shinian knocked Dafe down. When the program crew saw this, they were instantly surprised. Then, a few people hurried over to see what was happening to Dafe. Dafe was picked up by the staff. Dafe cried. Although his back did not hurt that much for a child, he had lost face and was bullied. He, who had never been beaten before, was thrown to the ground. All of these added together made him unable to bear it. The staff didn't expect that Gu Shinian would give them such a surprise. Gu Shinian actually knew grappling techniques. Even an average adult wouldn't be able to do that. How could a small child like him do it? Gu Shinian snorted and looked at Dafe. The staff members looked at Gu Xiuan and said, "Nian, you, Nian, Nian, Shinian, you." The staff members looked at Gu Nian and said, "Gu Xiuan, Gu, Nian, I Fei, Nian, Gu, Nian, and Fei, Nian of, Gu Fei, A, of, A." She just didn't expect that a child would be so protective of his sister. He, Gu Fei, Don Nian, A, Gu Shinian smirked. "Dafe, if you're a man, then come and fight. You're hiding behind an adult and crying. Are you still a man?" Wow, what a man! The staff looked at Gu Shinian and felt that he was too cute. He was too handsome. Even a child could be so handsome when he spoke. They had done so many episodes of children's programs, but they had never seen a child so handsome. Was it really because of the Gu family's genes? They were too powerful. Since young, why did they have such spirit? Dafe hid behind and looked around. Seeing that everyone was looking at him, he quickly stood up. Who said I was hiding behind someone? If you hit someone, then you're not a good kid. I'm not going to fight you." Gu Shinian snorted and snorted disdainfully. "All right, I don't need your apology. However, if you dare to touch my sister again, I'll definitely beat you up. Let's see if you still dare to bully her." Wow, good brother. The staff were all young girls, and all of a sudden, they felt very warm. For the sake of his younger sister, he really disregarded everything. The young ladies had all fantasized that they would have such a big brother. Today, they really saw it. Although he was such a small child, he was still so warm and amazing. Dafe said, "I didn't bully her." Gu Shinian couldn't be bothered to talk to him. "It's good that you didn't bully her. If you did, You don't have to tell me. My fist will tell you. Gu Shinian pulled Gu Shuan away. Dafei looked at them from behind and felt even more embarrassed. Seeing that everyone was looking at him, he lowered his head helplessly. Behind them, Gu Shinian kept mocking Dafei. Go over there. Stay away from me. This is my sister's thing. I don't need your help. Such a stupid thing. I'll do it. I don't think you can do it with your IQ. Dafei was infuriated, but looking at Gu Shinian, he didn't dare to go near him. Finally, when he met up with the mothers, Dafei saw his mother and ran over. Looking at Cheng Huan, he couldn't help but cry. Wah, Mom. Just now, he hit me. Cheng Huan was stunned. Then, she started scolding like a shrew. Who hit you? What's going on? How can kids fight each other? Whose child is so uneducated? Gu Shinian walked out and said, Me? What happened? Lin Che looked at him and followed him. What happened? Gu Shinian said, He tripped Shi Yuan. When Cheng Huan heard that, she started scolding. Just because he tripped, you hit our Dafei? Lin Che looked at Cheng Huan and said, What do you mean by tripped? Gu Shinian said, I don't know if he did it on purpose, but he tripped my sister and didn't apologize. Of course, I had to hit him. Cheng Huan was furious. She looked at Gu Shinian and wanted to use this as a pretext to vent her anger. What are you guys doing? Just because you have the surname Gu, you bully people like this. Our Dafei definitely didn't do it on purpose. You guys bully our Dafei like this, and you even hit him. Dafei, how did you get hit? No matter how useless Mom is, you still have so many fans. They definitely can't see you getting hit like this. Gu Shinian said, All right, let his fans see how he gets beaten up. Let them see how useless the person they like is. Cheng Huan's heart skipped a beat. It didn't look good to see him getting beaten up. Lin Che said, All right, if you have the guts, don't edit it. Show the fans the truth and see which side they're on. Chapter 1378. Cheng Huan's eyes moved. You're starting to manage the editing. That's amazing. So what if you have a surname Gu? Gu Shinian said lightly, Oh, you're so envious. Why don't you try changing your surname? The people around them almost choked. The staff felt that it was unbelievable. This child was really Was he really a child? Cheng Huan was stunned by his words. Gu Shinian continued, Oh, but even if you want to change, the Gu family won't accept someone with your IQ. Cheng Huan was instantly enraged. You actually. She pointed at Gu Shinian and shouted at Lin Che. Is this how you manage a child? Look at what he's saying. Lin Che shrugged. I can't manage it. You can manage it for me, but I'm afraid you can't manage it either. The staff was worried that something was going to happen and quickly went to pull her away. After a while, Cheng Huan was pulled away. Cheng Huan was angry, but the staff tried to persuade her. All right, don't be angry. She's a member of the Gu family. It won't do you any good if you anger her. Cheng Huan said, Who is she? Why would I be afraid of her? It's not a matter of fear, it's not good. The staff didn't want anything to happen. They wanted everyone to finish filming well and not get into any trouble. So they would naturally start from the middle and hope that everyone would be in a good mood to continue filming. Hearing the staff say that, Cheng Huan found herself a way out of this embarrassing situation. Our Dafei has so many fans. When they find out that he's being bullied, they definitely won't let Lin Che off. No matter what her surname is, the fans won't care what her surname is. During the shooting this time, Dafei basically avoided Gu Shinian. Gu Shinian even dared to talk back to his mother, so of course he didn't dare to provoke him. After filming, the families went home together. After 2 episodes, they rested for 2 more episodes before continuing. During this time, the first episode was broadcasted. It was also at this time that everyone found out that Lin Che was participating in this trip. All of a sudden, the audience who were curious about Lin Che went to watch the first episode. After the first episode was broadcasted, both the TV ratings and the computer click-through rate increased by many times. Among them, Cheng Huan and Dafei naturally continued to be on the hot search. After all, they were still popular, and their fans had a lot of expectations for them. However, their expectations for Lin Che were not as little as Cheng Huan thought. As expected, Lin Che's daughter, Gu Xiuan, immediately attracted a lot of attention. This child was a combination of wealth and fame. Her mother was an award-winning actress, and her father was the CEO of a wealthy family. She was born with a silver spoon in her mouth. She was truly a fair, rich, and beautiful woman. Everyone was very interested in the internal affairs of this kind of rich and powerful family. Naturally, they were very interested in her, the daughter of a top rich and powerful family. The Gu Xiuan in public was too cute. It made people feel that her looks did not disappoint her parents' genes. In addition, everyone saw Lin Che's home for the first time on the show. All of a sudden, the netizens, who were very imaginative and gossipy, immediately dug out many details. Lin Che's daughter's room is 120 square meters. How big is their home? This should be the manor on Nanshan Hill. That is the villa area for the rich. Only there can have such a large area. The market price there is already sky high. Any 500 square meter villa would cost hundreds of millions. Could it be that this is more than 500 square meters? Gu Xiuan's clothes look ordinary, but the carpet in her house is made of MG and the furniture is made of solid wood. She has also collected a complete set of SS dolls, which is the most difficult to collect. A set of dolls would cost millions. Gu Xiuan's cart is so expensive. It was brought back from abroad. It is definitely not sold in the country. I checked the official website, and it is 60,000 yuan. Lin Che's house is definitely the biggest and the most luxurious among these stars. No wonder he is from a rich family. Among them, Gu Xinian, who showed up for a while, also caused a huge discussion. Everyone agreed that he was definitely a handsome little devil. Zhengtai was so cute. It was a pity that he only showed up for a while, which made people feel that they had not seen enough. It was also the first time for the other families to see the edited version of the show. Although Cheng Huanhuan had a lot of screen time, many people were really tired of looking at her. They were even more curious about Lin Che, who was a new face. Suddenly, everyone saw that Lin Che's family was so big, and then they saw what the netizens said. Although there were many rich and powerful families in the industry who were exaggerated, Lin Che was definitely not an exaggeration. The first episode was over, but everyone was still curious about Lin Che. Everyone was looking forward to the second episode, and they even asked Gu Xinian to come on the show. Lin Che saw this and took advantage of the popularity to promote the show on Weibo. He said humbly, "My family is really not as big or as rich as everyone says. You all scared me." Lin Che said this because he wanted to be humble so that people would not say that he was too evil. Unexpectedly, at this moment, Gu Jingzi reposted it. Be honest. Lying is not good. Lin Che went to sleep at that time, so he did not see this at all. When he woke up, he saw that Gu Jingzi's words had become a trending topic. Be honest. This trending topic was really that he clicked on it and saw that it had already become a trending topic on the internet. The netizens all commented, "Look, Gu Jingzi admitted it. Their family is just that rich. Lin Che, you have to learn from your husband. Look at how honest your husband is, and then look at yourself." Duh. Lin Che felt wronged. This Gu Jingzi, why didn't he follow the script? This was naturally just a small interlude in the middle. Later on, the second episode came out. Everyone was stunned when they saw the editing. This time, the production team had even edited Da Fei and Gu Shinian's argument into the show, because the production team had considered it. This segment was so exciting, had so many highlights, and there were so many conflicts. It would be a waste to edit it all out. But to protect Da Fei's image, they had specially beautified it a little in the editing. However, this did not stop the netizens from having their own fantasies. The netizens were instantly attracted by Gu Shinian's smooth little movements. This was a world where looks mattered. Everyone liked such a handsome child even more. After watching it, everyone almost forgot about Da Fei. All they could remember was Gu Shinian's extraordinarily handsome appearance. Gu Shinian's movements are top-notch. He did it so accurately at such a young age. And from what I see, Da Fei is about 6 centimeters taller than him and weighs about 5 kilograms more than him. To be able to fall with such a heavy weight Gu Xinian must have trained regularly. Originally, he had wanted to sleep, but he stayed up and wrote a little. Chapter 1379. Some people had already realized that Gu Xinian spoke like an adult. He didn't look like his peers at all. Of course, some scenes of the fight were not included. Otherwise, the impact would be too bad. The reason and result of the fight were also blurred. They only knew that the two of them made up in the end. But in fact, the two of them didn't care about each other. Cheng Huanhuan had underestimated Gu Jing's influence and the influence of Lin Che and Gu Jing's relationship. Everyone was obviously more interested in young Master Gu than Da Fei. Da Fei was suddenly reduced to cannon fodder. No matter how many fans he had, he couldn't save his declining popularity. In the production crew, Cheng Huanhuan came in angrily and asked the director, "How could you edit the part of the fight? Why didn't you tell me?" This time, Cheng Huanhuan specially watched it. The length of her show was obviously much shorter than that of Lin Che's family, and the focus was more on Gu Xinian than on Da Fei. Cheng Huanhuan was anxious and angry. How could the production crew not edit it according to the original plan? Cheng Huanhuan was used to watching the edited content first. She had watched it this time. Why did they change the edit in the end and not tell her? Actually, the director team had made a last-minute decision. But seeing Cheng Huanhuan making a fuss, they could only say helplessly, "We also followed the popularity. Look, everyone's reaction is good now. Moreover, we originally wanted to show that Da Fei was bullied and make the fans feel sorry for him." In the end, no one felt sorry for Da Fei. Everyone only realized that Gu Xinian was very handsome. What else could they do? Cheng Huanhuan didn't believe them. She almost wanted to make a scene. Indeed, when the production crew saw that everyone was so interested in Gu Xinian in the first episode, they quickly changed the editing plan and included Gu Xinian in it. Who knew that it would really become popular all of a sudden? The viewership reached the peak of the first season, and it seemed like it was going to crush the previous episodes. Because Gu Xinian was too handsome, the number of hits on the internet soared, and the popularity of the topic continued to reach the peak. The production crew weren't stupid. Of course, they would promote the popular one. Cheng Huanhuan scolded, "Don't think that I don't know that you are promoting them just because their surname is Gu. You just want to please Gu Jingzi, right? Now you are purposely promoting them and trampling on Da Fei. Have you forgotten how much Da Fei has increased your popularity?" The director said helplessly, "We've been working together for so many years, and we've always been looking for you. But it's different now. We want to support you and give you a lot of time, but the netizens and the audience are just interested in the Gu family. What can you do? Now, everyone is interested in these rich kids. Don't you see who's the richest man in the world? How many people call him husband when he opens an account on the internet? How many girlfriends he has? How many girlfriends he has? It's obvious that everyone likes rich people. And Gu Jingzi is so rich. What can you do?" Cheng Huanhuan's face turned green when she heard this. "What do you mean now? Are you going to get rid of us after using us? Are you going to kick us out now?" "Of course we don't think that way. I'm saying that you could try to please Lin Che. You're doing well, and you are so popular now. If you quit, you will be at a disadvantage. Why don't you get on better terms with them, and everyone will be popular?" Asking Cheng Huanhuan to please Lin Che that they might as well kill her. The director said, "What else do you want to do? Don't tell me you want to quit. We've known each other for so many years. How can you not help us? If you quit halfway, what will we do then? I know you don't lack money, and you don't want the 50 million yuan. You can also afford the compensation. But if you quit like this, what will we do?" Hearing the 50 million yuan and the compensation, Cheng Huanhuan's eyes paused. Of course, she didn't want to give up the money, nor did she want to give up the popularity. She knew very well that Da Fei's popularity was still there, which had something to do with his participation in the show and his appearance on TV all the time. Once he quit, his popularity would definitely decline quickly. It wouldn't be worth it. How much money would she lose? But now, was Lin Che so popular? The program crew shook their heads and asked someone to comfort Cheng Huanhuan. But they knew that the era of Cheng Huanhuan and Da Fei was over. The director said, Let's appease her first. If we remove her, there will be too many negative topics to talk about. It's not good now. The moment Lin Shaye comes, the viewership ratings come. I've always said that Lin Shaye is a treasure. Wherever he goes, he'll be popular. Indeed, a person's luck is there. Chung Huan thought that she could suppress him. So I said from the start that no matter how much money we have to spend, as long as she can come, we must make her stay. And Chung Huan is a typical shrew. Everyone is sick of her and wants to see what a real rich lady and a prince and princess are like. Isn't that normal? Look at Lin Shaye. He's so classy. He's low-key and down-to-earth. One of his children is a prince, and the other is a princess. They are cute, beautiful, and so noble. If it were me, I would like Gu Xinian and Gu Shiwan too. There were many young ladies in the program crew. The director nodded when he heard this. You young ladies like this. Looks like we have to film more of Gu Xinian in the future. Gu Xinian had only wanted to take revenge for his sister. Who knew that he would suddenly become famous? When Lin Shaye was at home, his phone was exploding with calls. Someone asked Gu Xinian and Gu Shiwan if they wanted to film an advertisement together. The pay could be discussed. Lin Shaye said embarrassedly that they didn't want to accept advertisements. Someone even asked Gu Xinian if he was interested in developing in the film industry. They had small roles, and they could let Gu Xinian try it out. Lin Shaye quickly rejected them. Their Gu Xinian was going to film, and it would be infuriating. Now that he brought the two children out, there were even more people chasing after him. Although they were no longer people who wanted to explore secrets, but people who followed him like they were chasing after a star, it still made people feel speechless. Lin Shaye could only let and Baoqing drive away before getting out of the car. He could see the girls behind him shouting when they saw Gu Xinian. Gu Xinian, you're so handsome. Gu Xinian, grow up quickly. We want to have your babies. Duh. Gu Xinian frowned. He turned around and said, when I grow up, I won't look for them anymore. I'm so old, can I still have children? Lin Shaye was speechless. He actually knew what having babies meant. Lin Shaye pursed his lips. It means that they like you. Who would really want to have babies for you? Kids think too much. Chapter 1380. Gu Xinian tilted his head and looked at Lin Shaye helplessly. Although Gu Xinian had been the center of attention since he was young, it was only from his family and some wealthy families. After all, he was the eldest son of the Gu family, so it was normal for him to be the center of attention. But now, it was the first time he was being worshipped like a celebrity. It made him feel a little uncomfortable. Fortunately, Gu Xinian wasn't an ordinary kid. It was fine if he simply expressed himself. When Lin Shaye returned home, she saw that everyone was asking on Weibo if their Gu Xinian would be participating in the next show. They really wanted to see him. But Lin Shaye felt that Gu Xinian would never want to be on TV again. She smiled and sent a photo to thank everyone. Since her appearance had already been announced, she didn't have to be so stingy with the photo. In the photo, Gu Xinian was fencing. Everyone was shocked. Such a young kid could already fencing. Fencing was a class that Gu Xinian had attended since he was young. Lin Shaye had let Gu Xinian choose his own hobbies since he was young. It was rare for Gu Xinian to like something that wasn't so violent. Fencing. Because it was a gentleman's sport, Lin Shaye agreed. He had been learning for 3 years now. Naturally, he had mastered it. Everyone looked at the young gentleman in the photo and exclaimed that he was good-looking. Oh my God, I want to have a baby looking at him. Lin Shaye looked at the netizens and thought helplessly, you know how defeated you are by giving birth to someone like this. It was all Gu Jing's genes. It had nothing to do with him at all. It was so frustrating. The next time she went on the show, Lin Shaye and Gu Xinian had completely replaced Chung Huan's position. From the start, Lin Shaye's treatment was already very good. Every time she came, she would be the center of attention. This time, the way everyone looked at her seemed to have become more respectful. When she came, she had specially filmed some scenes of Gu Xinian. Although it was just a small interlude, it was considered as fulfilling the audience's request and letting everyone see some scenes of Gu Xinian. This time, Gu Xinian was dragged into an adventure with a few of the kids. Although it was called an adventure, it was actually to bring the kids to talk about interesting things at home. After all, children's words carried no harm. Sometimes it was very interesting to listen to a child's words. Hence, every season, such an activity would be arranged. Lin Shaye didn't know that it was an activity today. When she was called out by the production team, she felt a little strange. Once she entered a room, she saw that all the mothers were there, but the children were not. She said, "Where did the children go?" One of the mothers said, "They're over there. Come and see. They're all answering questions. It's so funny." Several mothers sat together, with Chung Huan Huan in the innermost. Although she was not convinced, she looked at Lin Shaye and thought that since she could not afford to offend him, she could hide from him. Anyway, she did not get close to him. She crossed her legs and watched from the side. Because she had participated in the show several times, she was not worried that Da Fei would have any problems. She had already checked the answers with him and arranged a lot of interesting answers for Da Fei to say on the show. She believed that Da Fei's answers would definitely be much better than others. The answers of the first two children were very interesting, but there weren't too many highlights. After a while, Da Fei went up, and the gap was very obvious. After all, he was a veteran, and he answered everything in the style of a variety show. It could be seen that in the future, this child would be influenced by his mother and walk the path of a variety show. After that, it was time for Gu Shiwan to go in for an interview. The director looked at Gu Shiwan and asked, "What's your name?" "Gu Shiwan," she said obediently. "Oh, who gave you your name?" "Gu Jingzi gave it to me." The people outside trembled when they heard this. They were not used to the fact that the great Gu Jingzi was by their side. Because they were familiar with Lin Shaye and Gu Jingzi had not been in the same scene before. When they saw Lin Shaye, they might not immediately think of Gu Jingzi. Now that this child directly said that Gu Jingzi gave him his name, the people outside sighed and thought, yes, the great Gu Jingzi is this little girl's father. The director said, "Who is Gu Jingzi? Isn't he your father? Why do you call him Gu Jingzi?" Gu Shiwan ate the candy on the table and said, "That's what my mother calls him at home." When everyone heard this, they looked at Lin Shaye enviously again. He called Gu Jingzi by his name at home. The director said, "Your mother calls your father Gu Jingzi. Why don't you call him husband?" Gu Shiwan looked up and tilted her head as she asked seriously, "What is a husband?" The director was speechless. The director said, "Go home and ask your father." The director smiled and said, "Does mom listen to dad more at home? Or does dad listen to mom more?" Gu Shiwan said, "Mom listens to dad more." Is that so? Why?" Everyone felt that it was obvious. Would Gu Jingzi listen to anyone else? Gu Jingzi definitely had the final say in the house. He was the leader of the Gu family. However, Gu Shiwan said, "Dad is strong. Mom can't beat dad. Mommy and daddy still fight." Dad said that mom wants to carry him and beat him. Ha ha. The people outside burst into laughter. What did she mean by carrying him and beating him? The director couldn't help but burst out laughing. "Oh, how did he carry him and beat him?" Dad said that beating someone is too scary, so he won't show it to us. He said that he'll beat mom up when we get into the house. Duh. The people outside had a million wild thoughts. How was he going to beat him up when they got into the house? Was he going to beat him up on the bed? Aren't you worried when your mother gets beaten up? The director continued to tempt her. Gu Shiwan was really something. She answered whatever the director asked. When the director asked her, she said, "Annie Xiao said that dad loves mom, and they are loving inside." Uffed. The director said, "Does it hurt when dad beats mom?" "Yeah, it hurts so much that mom cried." She cried. Mom cried and said no. It hurts so much and dad still hit her. Lin Shaye's face turned red. He jumped up and said, "No, I have to bring Gu Shiwan out." Everyone in the house burst into laughter. "Don't go. I didn't know that President Gu dotes on you so much." Life is so blissful," his mother said suggestively. Lin Shaye looked bitter. Someone must have told her this. The room is soundproof. How could she hear it? The people next to him laughed when they heard it. Then it's true. The room is soundproof, but it can't handle your loud voice. Ha ha. Looks like President Gu is good at this. Lin Shay had said it out of desperation. He didn't expect to fall into their trap. That's not what I meant. Okay, you don't have to explain. Chapter 1381. She really wanted to explain, but she had to. There was no need to mention what she said after that. It was as flirtatious as it could get. Lin Shay felt that he had to be more careful in the future. How could a child remember all this? But did Gu Jingze and her really have such a dubious relationship? The people around them were very envious. They couldn't tell that the two of them were so close. Their child was already so big, but they were still so warm and affectionate. Lin Shay went back and complained to Gu Jingze. Gu Jingze was still in Dubai. He hadn't come back for so long because he was busy. At night, the two of them kept video chatting. Gu Jingze didn't turn off the video until Lin Shay fell asleep. Hearing Lin Shay complain about his child, Gu Jingze snorted and laughed. "I'll go back the day after tomorrow," he said suddenly. Lin Shay looked up in surprise. "Really? You're coming back?" "Yes, I'm almost done." Lin Shay was very happy. She wanted to pick him up at the airport the day after tomorrow. When Gu Jingze returned, the airport was heavily guarded. When Lin Shay arrived, she saw Gu Jingze coming out. Qin Hao and the other staff were following beside him. When they saw Lin Shay, the rest of the staff had already left. Gu Jingze smiled and walked over. Lin Shay quickly ran over. She pulled Gu Jingze and said, "You've been busy for so long this time." Gu Jingze said, "I hope you don't have to be busy anymore. Let's go. There must be a lot of reporters out." I don't think so. I didn't see them when I came." "You'll see them when you go out." "Huh, they probably already know that I'm coming back. They should hurry over." Lin Shay was depressed. This was great. Because they were exposed, they would be the center of attention when they went out. As expected, when they went out, they saw a lot of people surrounding them. The reporters were filming from afar, but because there were too many security guards around Gu Jingze, they couldn't get close. Lin Shay and Gu Jingze held hands and left as quickly as possible. However, they couldn't stop the people from following them. Seeing the two of them holding hands, the reporters quickly pointed their cameras at them. Someone even shouted boldly, "Mr. Gu Lin Shay, look here." They didn't dare to call Gu Jingze's name directly, but they still wanted to get some shots of them. In the past, it was possible for Gu Jingze's security guards to chase these people away. That was why they hadn't exposed a single photo for so many years. However, now that it was public, they didn't care about it anymore. That was why they allowed them to take photos. Lin Shay pretended not to hear anything and quickly pulled Gu Jingze away. Although the reporter was very disappointed, it was the first time that he and Gu Jingze were in the same frame, so he was satisfied. He went back to report it. In the report, he also said that Gu Jingze was indeed Gu Jingze. The security was too tight. He took a picture of the nearby security guards. There were more than 30 security guards, and they were so tight that it was impossible to get close. Lin Shay looked at the report and felt very helpless. When she got home, Lin Shay received a call from Yu Minmin. Before she could spend some time with Gu Jingze, Yu Minmin said in surprise, "Shui Yang's new role has been nominated for the Oscar for Best Supporting Actor." Lin Shay was stunned at first, then said in surprise, "Really?" "Of course, the documents have been sent down. It hasn't been released yet. I submitted it as soon as I finished editing it." This time, Shui Yang's luck changed because of the scar, and he suddenly became a capable actor. "That's great. When will you start choosing?" "Next week." Lin Shay was happy. Shui Yang was getting better and better, and he was getting closer to his previous goal. Yu Minmin said, "These few days, the local organization has arranged a banquet for him, and many celebrities have been invited. You have to go too." Lin Shay said gloomily, "What does it have to do with the organization? Other than being nominated for the Best Foreign Film Award, the last person who was nominated for the Best Supporting Actor Award was 30 years ago. Not to mention winning an award, he hasn't even been nominated. So now, Shui Yang is very valued. His filming in America is about to end soon, and he's coming back to attend the welcome banquet." Okay, these people loved this kind of formalism. Lin Shay agreed, put down the phone, and told Gu Jingze. Gu Jingze said, "It's something to be happy about. When is the banquet?" "In a few days." Lin Che raised his eyebrows. Why are you going? Uh-huh. Gu Jingze also raised his eyebrows. Of course, Lin Che was just joking. He wouldn't go to such a boring place. Okay, I'm just joking with you. Hurry up and rest. Aren't you coming? Gu Jingze took her hand and pulled her in. Lin Che blushed and hurriedly looked around to see if Gu Xiuan was following him. Seeing that Gu Xiuan seemed to have gone out with the servant, he shyly entered the room with her. Many people attended the welcome banquet because the organization had asked for them. Not attending seemed to be disrespecting the organization, so no one dared to offend the organization. Otherwise, although it wouldn't be a big deal, it would still be annoying to find trouble for them. The organization hoped that everyone would attend the banquet to show how much they valued this C-grade film director. But the other artists were not really happy for Shui Yang. After all, whether Shui Yang won an award or not had nothing to do with them. Especially those who were originally Lin Che's competitors. When they saw that the artists in Lin Che's studio were so awesome, they felt jealous, but they still had to pretend to congratulate him. But if they really didn't come, it would seem that they were stingy and cared about it. So many people acted as if they were not interested in the Oscars. The people from Starlight had no choice but to come. They were definitely sent here by the organization because the organization called and said, I heard that your family is not on good terms with Lin Che's studio. Of course, Liang Shan hurriedly said, of course not, of course not. Our families are very close. Really? We are all in the same industry, and people in the industry should be friendly and help each other. Otherwise, if the news gets out, it will seem like we are in the dark. That's not good. This is a good opportunity. You guys should come together. Liang Shan's face immediately darkened. This time, they were the ones who started the fight between Gu Jingze and Lin Che, who knew that they would shoot themselves in the foot. Now they were trying their best to avoid showing up, but who knew that the organization would threaten them. If they didn't go, it would seem like they were fighting against each other. How could they say no? They had no choice but to bring a few artists with them. When they arrived, they saw that many people were disdainful. I didn't expect that Shui Yang would have so many scandals in the past. I heard that he even won the Oscars. I heard that his face is ruined. Maybe with that face, if he doesn't go to Hollywood, he won't be able to cheat people in the country. Digression. As for when this article will be finished, it should be finished this month. Everyone can talk about some people's digressions in the comments section. I want to see which one will be able to edit someone else's short story. Chapter 1382. When Liang Shan heard this, he brought Wu Yufei to watch from the back. He said, I've long heard of that Shui Yang. He used to be a scoundrel. He was taken in by Lin Che and became a trainee. Seriously, Lin Che has all kinds of people mixed in. Wu Yufei said, it's fine as long as he can be famous. Liang Shan looked askance at his Wu Yufei. This child was really going against him every day. She even ruined his place in front of others. Wu Yufei couldn't be bothered with him. She wanted to play with her own fingers. Seriously, he couldn't do it, and yet he refused to admit it. Every day, he criticized Lin Che. Then he shouldn't imitate their method of nurturing newcomers. At the end of the day, he was also nurtured using that method. However, Lin Che and the others were always responsible for their artists. But on Xing Hui's side, the artists who couldn't do it were kicked aside. Just look at Shui Yang. He already had a scar on his face, and Lin Che still thought of another way for him. If it was Xing Hui, they would have hidden him long ago. At this moment, Lin Che arrived. The people from the union rushed to welcome Mrs. Gu. Ah, Mrs. Gu is here. The union didn't like people like Lin Che who had too much news. They always felt that he was a bad influence in the entertainment industry. An artist who had so much news should not just focus on acting. But now that Lin Che was Mrs. Gu, things were different. Mrs. Gu, the artist that your agency has nurtured is really good. I saw it this time, and the movie is not bad. You have a good chance of winning an award. This Shui Yang is really the pride of the entertainment industry in Country C. Our union specially prepared a medal for him today. Lin Che was dressed in a black dress, elegant and elegant. Because it was a formal occasion and not an ordinary banquet, it was a banquet organized by the union. Hence, The clothes were very formal, and there was nothing special. But perhaps it was because she was now Mrs. Gu. Everyone felt that she was especially elegant when they looked at her. After Lin Che exchanged pleasantries with the Union for a while, she saw Liang Shan avoiding her gaze and walking over to talk to Wu Yufei. But Wu Yufei didn't give him face. The moment he turned around, Wu Yufei stood up and left. Liang Shan blushed and had no choice but to meet Lin Che's face. Since they were already eye to eye, he had no choice but to stand up and greet them. Liang Shan said, "Hello, Mrs. Gu. It's rare to see you. You're so busy, but you're still attending the Union's banquet. You're really supporting the work of the Union." "How could that be? Brother Liang Shan is the amazing one. He's a big brother in the world of agents. He even came to our Shui Yang's welcome party." "All right. I heard that you have a good relationship with the paparazzi. I don't know if they're here this time. Please send my regards. I haven't seen them in a long time. I miss them." This was because Lin Che knew that everything that had happened was caused by Xing Hui. Liang Shan's expression was rather unsightly, but there was nothing else he could say to refute. He had slapped himself in the face, and now he had to wait for someone else to slap him in the face again. Lin Che smiled and walked past Liang Shan. At this moment, he saw that Wu Yufei was staring at him. He snorted and walked inside. Wu Yufei wanted to pretend that she didn't care, but after competing with Lin Che for so long, he was still so popular. She was still in her current position, and she might not even have the ability to keep her position. She always told others that she was very tired and that she didn't want to act at all. She would go back after earning enough money. Fame wasn't important. She came here because she wanted to earn money, and when she had earned enough money, she would marry someone and go back to live her life. But these words were actually said on purpose. She knew that after the peak, her popularity would start to fall. This was inevitable. It was as if she was giving people a heads up, making them think that she wouldn't care even if her popularity fell. Actually, which celebrity wouldn't care? If they had never been popular before, it would be fine. But after experiencing it once, even if it was only for a day, they wouldn't want to fall again. No wonder so many celebrities would be depressed. Really, it was too easy for them to experience ups and downs. Shui Yang returned. He was covered in dust and had just gotten off the plane. After being baptized by Hollywood, he had really darkened. Everyone saw that there were scars on his face. They were really obvious, but they should be able to be covered with powder. But it was obvious that Hollywood wouldn't let people use powder to cover their faces. When Shui Yang entered, the reporters immediately swarmed over. Being an international celebrity was really different. When he smiled, he seemed to be very classy. He smiled at the reporters. He wasn't in a hurry to accept the interview, so he went in to look for Lin Che first. "Sister Che, I'm back." He pulled Lin Che up in front of everyone. The two of them seemed to be very close, which made the others jealous. Most people would forget about their talent scouts once they became famous, but obviously, Shui Yang wasn't one of them. Lin Che said, "All right, let's go for the interview." Shui Yang pulled Lin Che over for the interview. The reporters looked at Lin Che and hurriedly asked, "Didn't President Gu come today, Mrs. Gu?" Lin Che said speechlessly, "Today's main character is here." Shui Yang wasn't worried that she would steal the spotlight. He smiled and said to the reporters, "It's been a long time. Thank you for coming today." "Shui Yang, are you confident in winning the award this time? There's a scar on your face, right? Do you have any emotional journey? Now that you're called the International Shui, do you have any thoughts?" Shui Yang said, "I'm already very happy to be nominated. If I can win the award, of course I'll look forward to it. Even if I don't win, I'll gladly accept it." "Then, did you already know about Lin Che and Mr. Gu?" "Yes, we knew." Shui Yang smiled. "The two of you have always been very loving. We all know that. Why did it have to do with her again?" When the reporters heard this, they immediately became interested. How loving. Who listens to whom in the family? Have they ever quarreled? Shui Yang smiled and said, "Quarrel, just like any other married couple. However, Mr. Gu is always the one who admits defeat the most. Sister Che should be more obedient in the family because Mr. Gu is still very capable and can help Sister Che take care of everything. Sister Che is usually too muddle-headed. She can't do without Mr. Gu." "Wow, so sweet." The reporters cried out. They really felt that the two of them were very loving indeed. However, there were discordant voices at the back. When they heard Shui Yang's words, they said, "Humph, public display of affection." They didn't finish the second half of the sentence. Public display of affection would lead to a quick death. Everyone knew what that meant. They looked at each other and felt that it was right. There were many public displays of affection in the industry, but it all ended in divorce. However, at this moment, someone said, "Quick, look, it seems like someone is coming." No way, Gu Jingze. The living Gu Jingze is here? Chapter 1383. Indeed, it was Gu Jingze. The reporters wanted to take pictures, but the security guards had already started to clear them out. After clearing the reporters out, Gu Jingze walked in. The people from a union felt very honored and immediately went over to greet him. Shui Yang had been with Lin Che for a long time, so he was used to Gu Jingze. He could understand why these celebrities were so excited when they saw Gu Jingze. At first, when he saw Gu Jingze, he felt a little uncomfortable. He couldn't believe that he was in the same room as Gu Jingze. But after some time, he got used to it. He felt that as long as Gu Jingze was with Lin Che, he would be very calm. It was different from the rumors. The celebrities looked at Gu Jingze excitedly. But when they saw Lin Che walk over, they realized that it was useless to be excited now. Gu Jingze was Lin Che's. If this had happened in the past when they didn't know, they would have been very surprised to see Gu Jingze. They could even brag to everyone in the entertainment industry that they knew Gu Jingze's true colors. But now, even though they had finally seen the famous Gu Jingze, they realized that he was already Lin Che's. Lin Che brought Shui Yang over. Gu Jingze looked at Shui Yang and said, "I know you've been nominated for an Oscar. Congratulations." Shui Yang was very embarrassed. This name could be very famous in other places, but it was nothing in Gu Jingze's eyes. He lowered his head and said, "Thank you, but it's just a supporting actor and it's only a nomination. I might disappoint everyone in the end." "No, you're already the pride of country C." Gu Jingze extended his hand. Shui Yang quickly took it and shook his hand respectfully. Lin Che looked up at Gu Jingze and said, "Why are you here all of a sudden?" Gu Jingze put his arm around her shoulder and said, "Let's go in and talk." The group of people saw Gu Jingze pull Lin Che into the room, and their gazes followed them. In the beginning, people were curious about whether Gu Jingze and Lin Che were really in love with each other, as people said. They suspected that the two of them were definitely together for a purpose. However, now that the two of them were standing in front of them, many people had no choice but to believe that the two of them were husband and wife, a real husband and wife. This was not a hype. Gu Jingze's purpose for coming here was to let everyone see that those who doubted and doubted him could clearly see that he was truly standing by Lin Che's side. These days, many people had nothing better to do than to make up stories on the internet about how tough the life of a wealthy family was, how Lin Che forced himself to smile, and how he pretended to be very happy. It wasn't that he didn't know, so he came over to see with his own eyes whether Lin Che was really forcing himself to smile. Now that Gu Jingze was really here, everyone had seen what they wanted to see, so they could only leave. There were also some people who wanted to get close to Gu Jingze. After all, there weren't many opportunities to get close to Gu Jingze. However, only Lin Che and a few people who were familiar with Lin Che directly walked in. The security didn't stop them. However, when other strangers wanted to go in, they were immediately stopped and not allowed to get close. The security guards didn't say a word. They just stood there with cold faces. No matter who it was, no matter what they said, they would say, "Lin Che knows me. Let me go over and say hello." The security guard had a blank look on his face. They would say, "I'm playing that so-and-so." The security guard still had a cold look on his face. Everyone could only leave resentfully. After watching for a while, Yu Minmin came and walked over. The security guard knew him, so he bowed respectfully and let him in. Yu Minmin was the president's wife, so it wasn't a big deal. However, when Mu Fearon came, he also nodded respectfully and let him in. It seemed like the security guards all knew these people. Everyone could only watch unwillingly. There was nothing they could do. They looked at the few people they knew sitting around Gu Jingze, and no one else was allowed to get close to him. They were very jealous. Yu Minmin looked at Shui Yang and congratulated him. Then, he said, I'll be there during the awards ceremony. If Lin Che's schedule isn't good, he probably won't be able to make it. Lin Che said, I'll be watching the live broadcast at home. Shui Yang hurriedly said, it's not a big deal. If you guys do this, I'll be under a lot of pressure. Yu Minmin said, don't you feel pressured? We're just going to support you. It's already very impressive that you were nominated. We're satisfied. Moreover, when the time comes, you'll be the light of Country C. Even if we don't go, many people from the domestic media and the entertainment industry will be there. You can start adjusting your mentality now. Shuiyang took a deep breath. Indeed, he was already feeling a little pressured. Yu Minmin looked at his face and said, all right, I told you that this is your destiny. A scar won't stop you. You're better now, and you'll be better in the future. Shuiyang looked at them and said, thank you for not giving up on me. I'm only where I am today because of everyone's support. You're welcome. It's the result of your hard work. You didn't know how to act at first, but now you have such a wide range of acting skills. It's all because of your hard work. We can't act for you, can we? Shuiyang knew that everyone was comforting him, but in his heart, he was really grateful to this team and his friends. Lin Che sighed as he looked at him, deep in thought. He left with Gu Jingze. On the way, he saw a woman swaying and bumping into him. Lin Che was stunned. He could smell the smell of alcohol. Luckily, the security guards were still there, and they blocked the person. He took a closer look and saw that the person on the ground was Wu Yufei. He didn't know how much she had drunk, but she was swaying. She was mumbling indistinctly, hey, Lin Che. Ha ha, hello. Why do I see you again? It's really. Gu Jingze frowned. Lin Che waved his hand and said, it's okay. She's just an artist we've met before. Just take her away. Liang Shan was watching from afar. He was really frightened. When he heard Lin Che's calm instructions, he hurried over. Sorry, I'm sorry. I'll take her away immediately. Liang Shan looked at Gu Jingze from afar. He looked at the security guards and didn't dare to come over. Now that he was in front of Gu Jingze, he felt even more pressured. He knew that he had offended Lin Che, so he didn't even dare to look at Gu Jingze. He didn't know how he had the guts to go against Lin Che. Lin Che looked at him and nodded. Brother Liang Shan, she's from your company. I'll leave her to you. Hearing the words Brother Liang Shan really made him feel cold all over. Chapter 1384. If he hadn't seen Gu Jingze with his own eyes, he would have had the courage to provoke him. But now that he had seen the two of them in front of him, the difference between them was obvious. Liang Shan pulled her up and left quickly. Although he was dragging her, he still ran faster than a rabbit. Liang Shan dragged her to the back. Seeing her like this, he was worried that the reporters outside would find out. So he quickly picked up the water beside him and splashed it on her. Wake up. Why don't you look at yourself? What are you doing here? Do you want to die? Wu Yufei wiped the water off her face and opened her eyes to see Liang Shan. She stood up and scolded him. How dare you splash water on me? Don't you know how many fans I have? How dare you splash water on my face? This face is for you to earn money. Can you afford to ruin it? Liang Shan didn't expect that Wu Yufei would still dare to talk to him like this. But he endured for the sake of her drunkenness. Plus, it was true that her face was for money. He didn't want to argue with a money tree. Liang Shan asked someone to hide her and went back to rest. The next day, Wu Yufei was called to the office when she woke up. Liang Shan scolded her. You should pay attention to your image. What's wrong with you? How dare you get drunk there? Don't you know how many reporters are outside? If they take a picture of you going to Gu Jingze's place, they'll laugh at you. Wu Yufei said indifferently, I'm not afraid. Heh, you could drink if you don't get a picture. What if you get a picture? Then let's talk about it after we get a photo. Besides, what are you afraid of? Even if we get a photo, it's just a little scandal. Who knows, we might even be able to get on the headlines and gain some exposure. Nowadays, which artist isn't both black and famous? The more scandals there are, the more popular they are. You. Wu Yufei didn't say anything else. She stood up and walked out. Liang Shan slammed the table angrily. This Wu Yufei was getting more and more ridiculous. Wu Yufei was in a bad mood. She had to rush to work. When she arrived at the airport, a few people followed her. She had a hangover and was very tired. When she saw her assistant pushing a car over, she sat in it. "I can't take it anymore. I need to sit for a while." Although the assistant felt that it was a little strange and the people next to them were watching, it was not good for him to refuse. Wu Yufei just sat on the suitcase and walked forward. He got on the plane and got off. Due to the delay, he arrived 2 hours late. The assistant was as anxious as an ant on a hot pan. Wu Yufei was still leaning against the chair and sleeping. Wu Yufei's assistant kept talking on the phone. She said, "All right, stop arguing. It's late anyway. Let me sleep for a while." When they arrived, they were already 3 hours late. Some of the older celebrities harumphed. Seriously, the youngsters these days are really incredible. Back then, we would always arrive 2 hours early, afraid that we would be late. Of course, Wu Yufei heard it. She pretended not to hear it and went in. The assistant could only smile awkwardly and hurriedly followed. "Sister Yufei, what would you like to drink?" "Sister Yufei, let's get you something to eat." The few assistants kept following her back and forth. Wu Yufei was too lazy to go out and listen to the older celebrities scolding her. She just stayed inside, and when the rehearsal was about to end, she went out for a walk. Then, she came back to play games and enjoy the air conditioning. The television station said that these celebrities these days could really earn hundreds of thousands of dollars just by appearing for a few minutes. It was too easy to earn money. The television station immediately told the management company that their celebrities were too famous. They were really too much. Next time, it would be better to have celebrities who weren't so famous. Liang Shan was extremely depressed. He paced back and forth a few times. He couldn't help but call Wu Yufei to scold her. "Wu Yufei, what's wrong with you? How dare you offend the television station? Aren't you afraid of being banned in the future?" Wu Yufei said lazily, "Don't I have you guys? Just help me with the public relations." After saying that, Wu Yufei hung up the phone. Liang Shan was really curious. Where did the obedient and sensible Wu Yufei go? Why was it that she was becoming more and more difficult to manage now? On the other side, Lin Che and Gu Jingze went out early in the morning. Gu Jingze left for a long time. When he came back, he said he would go shopping with her. Of course, Lin Che was very happy. She changed her clothes in the house and went out with Gu Jingze. Gu Jingze was in charge of driving, and she sat beside him. The two of them drove a relatively low-key Benz together. Nowadays, every car on the road was like a luxury car. A Benz was much more low-key than the cars in their backyard. Especially when a Benz could be bought for more than $200,000, it became more and more worthless. Although this Benz was obviously worth $1 million, people might not be able to tell. Anyway, people might only recognize the logo of a Benz, but they might not be able to understand the model. This was the case for Lin Che. Although she knew that her family's car shouldn't be that cheap, when she saw that it was a Benz, she thought it should be cheaper than a Porsche. Actually, she didn't know that many Porsches nowadays only cost a few $100,000. They were not even as expensive as a Benz. Whenever Gu Jingze wanted to accompany Lin Che, he would ask his men to follow her from afar. Although many of Lin Che's clothes were bought by the housekeeper, and they were very convenient to hang in the store, women still needed to go shopping occasionally. As they walked, they arrived at the store. Unexpectedly, this time, as soon as they entered the store, they heard people rushing over. "Wow, Lin Che, Gu Jingze." Lin Che saw the shop assistant running over happily with a face full of joy. She recognized them at first sight without any doubt. This was also because the two of them had been on TV too much recently. Anyone who paid a little attention to celebrity gossip would know them. How could they not know them? "Hello, hello. Are you going shopping? Please come in. We just got some new things in the store." Look, Lin Che originally just wanted to go shopping, but after hearing the shop assistant's words, he had no choice but to come in. He could only go in and take a look. However, because the shop assistant was looking at him as if he were an animal in the zoo, Lin Che felt a little uncomfortable. So, he didn't see what the clothes were like and just walked around casually. On the other hand, Gu Jingze looked down at Lin Che and then at the chattering shop assistant. He said directly, "It's done." The shop assistant looked at Gu Jingzi, thinking that he was angry. However, unexpectedly, Gu Jingzi said directly, "All right, wrap up this row of clothes for us and send it to the Gu family's house. You can pay for it here. We still have something to do, so we'll be leaving first." The shop assistant saw that, wow, a row of clothes was bought directly, as expected of a nouveau riche. The shop assistant looked at Gu Jingzi in surprise. She quickly nodded and said, Okay, don't worry." Gu Jingzi held Lin Che and left. Chapter 1385. The shop assistant quickly posted it on Weibo. "Gu Jingzi just brought Lin Che to our store. Oh my, he saw the month's worth of my sales." There was a row of clothes below the post, which meant that all the clothes in the row had been bought. There was a heated discussion on the internet. The Weibo post was immediately discovered by the marketing paparazzi, who then posted it on his account. It said, "Look at how the rich Gu Jingzi dotes on his wife. Look at how the rich man goes shopping. Mrs. Gu is so lucky." The netizens were very surprised and said, "So other people's posts about buying are just casual remarks. Our President Gu is the one who is really buying. They usually talk about rich families and young masters in the capital. It's time to see what a real rich man looks like. President Gu, do you still need a maid? President Gu's cloakroom is so big." Outside, Lin Che and Gu Jingzi were still in the middle of shopping. Lin Che looked up and said, "Why did you buy all of them?" Gu Jingzi said, "She wasted so much time talking to us and wasting our time. This is the most time-saving way for us, and the clothes are not ugly." Lin Che said, "But I can't wear so many clothes. I like wearing one a day," he said with a smile. Lin Che knew that he couldn't be bothered to listen to the shop assistant. Smiling, she pulled him to continue strolling. After a while, she was a little tired and pulled him to a coffee shop. There are many coffee shops in shopping malls nowadays. The purpose was probably to give people a place to sit when they were tired. Gu Jingzi pulled him in. He looked around and said, "The coffee is terrible." Lin Che pushed him to sit down. The coffee here was, of course, different from the coffee beans that he had carefully selected from Brazil. "All right, no one is here to drink coffee. They're all here to rest and continue shopping." Lin Che didn't ask him what he wanted to drink. He just bought 2 cups of coffee. Someone seemed to recognize the 2 of them, but didn't dare to go forward to confirm. Lin Che rested his chin on his hand and looked at Gu Jingzi. Then he looked at the scenery outside the French window. There were beautiful scenery and handsome men. But at this moment outside, when someone's car was reversing inside, with a bang, it scraped the car outside. The onlookers saw that it was a Porsche that had crashed into a Mercedes-Benz. Wow, a Porsche colliding with a Mercedes-Benz. "It's going to be interesting," the onlookers said as they got out of their cars. They walked closer to watch the show. At the same time, the owner of the Porsche had alighted. "Fuck, who parked the car here? Can't you let people pass?" The Porsche was small and flat, while the Mercedes-Benz was big and tall. It was an SUV. The bottom of the Porsche's headlights were dented, and the headlights were also broken. On the other hand, the Mercedes-Benz didn't have any problems except for a layer of paint. The owner of the Porsche was very angry. The gold chain around his neck was shaking. "Hey, is this the insurance company? My car was scratched. I don't expect him to pay for it. It's just a broken Mercedes-Benz." Everyone looked and said, "That's a Mercedes-Benz, and a broken Mercedes-Benz at that. He's driving a Porsche. In his eyes, it's just a broken Mercedes-Benz." At this moment, there was a broadcast in the mall. "Attention, owner of the car, plate number XXXXX. Your car was scratched in the outdoor parking lot. We hope that you can come out and deal with it." Lin Che felt that it sounded familiar. When he heard the announcement from the mall again, he immediately jumped up. "No way, our car was scratched." Gu Jingzi stood up slowly. "Really? Let's go out and take a look." When the 2 of them went out, they heard someone shouting from afar. "Seriously, why isn't the owner here yet? Don't tell me he wants to run away." The friend next to the man said, "Did he see that you're a Porsche and ran away in fear?" "Uffed. Who wants him to pay for it? Seriously." Was he talking about them? Hearing this, Lin Che felt strange and walked over in a few steps. Excuse me, please. The car is ours. What's wrong? The man was still shouting. Hey, what's wrong with you? How did you park the car? You made us. However, when he looked closely, he saw that the person who came over wasn't it Lin Che? The man's words stopped there. Hey, Lin Che, why is it you? Is this your car? The man looked at the man behind him and was even more surprised. Was that Gu Jingze? Lin Che looked and said, What's wrong? Did the car get scratched? Yeah. Seriously, I didn't know it was your car. I was waiting for the insurance company to come. How would I know that you drive such a cheap car? At this moment, the insurance company's representative arrived. He immediately recognized the man's Porsche and walked over. The man hugged the insurance company representative and said, Seriously, I didn't expect to meet a celebrity after a car accident. Look, Lin Che, you drive a Mercedes. I thought that since you're so rich, your car will be expensive. Why did you drive a Mercedes? Behind him, the insurance salesman looked at him and said speechlessly, All right, why don't you look at the specs of his car and yours? His model isn't a cheap Mercedes-Benz either. Do you think all Mercedes-Benz are cheap? Huh? The man was a little dumbfounded. Everyone watched from the side and couldn't help but laugh. Someone said, This is a high-end imported Mercedes-Benz. It costs $4 million, okay? Lin Che didn't expect that. She quickly turned around to look at Gu Jingze. She knew that Gu Jingze's car wouldn't be cheap. Who knew it was so expensive? She quickly said, Seriously, didn't I say that we would drive a low-key car? Gu Jingze said, The most low-key one. The man's face turned red. On the other side, Lin Che saw that someone had discovered them and didn't dare to say anything else. She only said to the person, We'll leave someone to handle it. We'll leave first. With that, she pulled Gu Jingze into the car. As expected, someone had already discovered them from afar and shouted, Wow, it's Gu Jingze and Lin Che. They immediately rushed over. Luckily, the two of them left early. However, the onlookers had already posted this scene on the internet. Someone even listed all the luxury cars Lin Che had driven over the years on the internet. So Lin Che was such a nouveau riche from the start. Mrs. Gu has long revealed her wealth, but we just didn't realize it. The pictures below showed cars as small as 4 million yuan and as big as 10 million yuan. It was an eye-opener for many onlookers. They even asked curiously how many cars the Gu family had. However, they really didn't have a head count. He only knew that Lin Che had driven more than a dozen of them. You're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.